Hi Collective, I am the Nosy Witch and this is my channel, Nosy Witch Tarot. We are back with another pick a card reading this week. So this reading is focused on big changes for you in the upcoming future, in your near future, shall I say. This is going to be focused on how your life is transforming, ways you are growing, ways you are working on yourself and your self-development in order to make those changes, in order to transform your life, and just opportunities that might be heading your way based on the ways that you are showing up for yourself. So if that sounds like something you are interested in, please stay tuned and listen to the reading. As usual, your reading will be split into two main sections. We are going to start by doing an energy check by looking at one of these four oracle cards. This is so you can clarify that you have selected the right pile. We are then going to move on to the tarot portion of the reading, which will confirm and expand on this current energy, maybe certain struggles that you have faced in the past, in the recent past, and how you are transforming and changing that energy into something else to help with your growth, as well as any potential opportunities that this might present. Although I realize that we can't necessarily control everything that happens to us, and sometimes changes just happen, I operate under the belief that we create a lot of our own change through our beliefs about ourselves, through our own actions, through the opportunities that we allow ourselves to explore. So, a good portion of this reading might delve into some deeper topics and it might involve a certain degree of introspection. So, some of this reading might bring up topics that could feel difficult to you. If you are not in the place mentally or emotionally to listen to this reading and to hear some of those things, please don't feel bad for needing to take a step back and maybe not watch this video. Maybe this video will resonate with you at a different stage of your life when you are ready to hear those messages. I only ever want my readings to be a source of empowerment. I don't ever want to feel like I'm just calling someone out for the sake of doing it. But at the same time, I'm not necessarily going into this wanting to sugarcoat things. I believe in radical self-love, but I also believe in accountability and holding yourself responsible for your own actions and for creating change in your life. And I hope that's what I'm portraying with these readings. All I ever want to do is offer a source of light and also a good laugh sometimes. But if you are feeling as though I'm bringing things up in this reading that are damaging to your emotional well-being or your mental health, please take a step back. Please don't engage with this kind of content. If there are any topics that come up that feel as though they might trigger people in that way, I will pop them in the description below. So please be mindful of that and check the description. If you think there's any particular topic that might be damaging to you, please have a look below and just know that going into the reading. I know it says it on the disclaimer as well, but I just thought it was worth mentioning. Okay, so with that little section out of the way, it is now time for you to pick your pile. We have four piles to choose from, so essentially you will be using your intuition to pick one of these four piles. If more than one pile catches your eye, there could be multiple messages for you. You are more than welcome to pick more than one pile if more than one is calling to you. If you pick a pile and you find that the energy just doesn't match with what you're feeling and that it's not your pile, that's absolutely fine. Please feel free to go back, to pause the video and to pick a different pile. If you're finding that none of the piles are resonating with you, that is absolutely fine. Perhaps it is not your story. Not every single detail might resonate with you, and that is more than okay. There are plenty of other readers and readings out there for you to enjoy. Maybe this one isn't for you right now. Maybe it will be in the future. You are more than welcome to come back anytime. Please don't feel bad for not listening to this reading right now if the messages aren't for you right now. If you find that you are struggling to connect with your intuition and to pick a pile, you are more than welcome to use a random number picker online to pick for you. Also, I will put the names of any decks used, any oracle decks or any tarot decks used in the description below if you are interested in purchasing any of those decks for yourself, for your collection. I will pop them in the description below. Okay, so with that said, let's have a look at the piles. So over here we have pile 1 and the green crystal tower. Pile 1 and the green crystal tower. Here we have pile 2 and the clear crystal tower. Pile 2 and the clear crystal tower. Here we have pile 3 and the red crystal tower. Pile 3 and the red crystal tower. And here we have pile 4 and the deep blue / navy crystal tower. Depends how it shows up on camera for you, but I'm going to go with deep purple / blue. Okay, so pile 1, pile 2, pile 3, pile 4. Once you have chosen your pile, please go to the timestamp, which will be in the description below, and that will take you to your reading. Once again, I just want to thank everyone so much who has given me a supportive comment, who has liked my video. It all really helps me, and I genuinely do appreciate every single comment I get. I am so grateful that people are actually listening to my readings and that it's resonating with people. Not only does it give me a lot more confidence as a reader, but it also feels so good to know that I have connected with people in some way and that people do resonate with my words. A lot of the time when I'm doing readings, I almost feel like, am I doing this reading for myself because I relate to this? But I think it's just that we're all going through this human experience together, and a lot of what I'm going through, you're going through. So it's nice to know that like people out there resonate, that we're all having this experience together in many ways, that there is a lot of overlap. There's some comfort in knowing that, even when, potentially you don't get the most positive reading, it can feel good to know that there are other people who have been through what you've been through, who resonate with your story. So I hope to provide that safe space for people to talk about that. But yeah, I just wanted to say that I am so incredibly grateful. Thank you for the support that you've given me so far. Thank you for any support that you do give me going forward. I am eternally grateful for it. Anyone that's commented so far, I have noticed you. I have really taken that to heart, and it feels amazing to feel so supported as a reader. I just want to thank you so much. And also, with that said, if you have any suggestions for readings you would like me to do going forward, I am definitely open to some suggestions. So please feel free to leave them in the comments if you want to say anything about the readings that you'd like going forward. But yeah, once again, if you like my style of content, please like, please subscribe, please comment below, all of those things. That would mean the world to me. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy this reading. Hi Pile 1, welcome to your reading. If you chose this green crystal tower, this will be your reading. This reading is regarding the upcoming big changes in your life, in your near future. We will be taking a look at those transformative moments coming up for you. So as usual, we are going to start by looking at one oracle card just to check the energy for you to see if this sounds like you, if it resonates with you. And then we are going to be moving on to the tarot portion. For a little breakdown of what to expect in this reading, check out the introduction if you haven't already, so you know what to expect. But anyway, without further hesitation, let's just get started and have a look at what we've got. Okay, pile 1. We have show yourself, vulnerability, self-worth, feminine healing. Okay, so pile 1, the next big change, the next big transformation that I'm seeing for you is that you are becoming more comfortable being vulnerable and showing yourself, showing your vulnerability and using that as a strength. I'm getting that this will be a part of your power. This will be how you step into your power. Will be showing yourself through expressing yourself through vulnerability, through working on this feminine healing. And by feminine healing, you don't have to identify as a female. You don't have to identify as being like a divine feminine if you even identify with any of those labels. But whatever label you identify with, I'm getting that you are very much healing the feminine side of yourself, because I believe that everybody has a balance of those sort of masculine and feminine energies. And honestly, I don't always like the label of masculine or feminine because it does seem a little bit sort of stereotypical and outdated. And I think it can make people confused because it can sometimes make people feel as though if they identify as one particular gender, then that means that they have to identify with either one or the other, and they can't adhere to behaviors that fall out of that sort of very narrow way of being. I do not believe that is the case. I think that people can have access to both of those energies, however they identify. We could refer to this divine masculine or the divine feminine as like fire versus water or something like that. The labels don't necessarily matter in that sense. It's just that with feminine healing, I always feel like this healing refers to tapping in to our emotional side, by learning to express our emotions, by learning to be vulnerable, by learning to show those sides of ourselves, and also to tap into our softness, to realize that our compassion, our empathy, the ways we nurture, these are all superpowers, these are all strengths. And I think you are transforming in a very big way, that you are realizing that, and you are sort of learning how to be vulnerable and how to express your emotions like that. Maybe you are not somebody who is all that comfortable with being vulnerable. Maybe you aren't somebody who talks about any issues you might be having a lot of the time. Maybe you are more of the strong, silent type. Or even if you're not, maybe you just don't really talk about those deeper things with people. And maybe you aren't necessarily somebody who even really reflects on that within your own self. Maybe you're not somebody who typically likes to dwell on emotions. Maybe if something happens that makes you upset, you sort of bypass that processing the emotion stage and you go straight to, let's just forget about it. Let's just ignore that, right? That's happened now. Draw a line in the sand. We're not thinking about it again. We're moving on to the next thing. Maybe you are quite goal driven that way and you feel as though sort of tapping into those darker emotions might sort of stunt your growth and stop you from doing the things that you want to do. So you just try to go straight to that next stage and bypass any healing. But the issue with that, pile one, is that when we don't address these deeper emotions, when we are not able to process them, even if we think we have gotten over something, we carry that with us when we have not given ourselves the time and the space to really connect with our emotions, to acknowledge them, to feel them, to really feel them. That is what I wanted to say. We are just ignoring the deeper issues, and those emotions, they're not going to necessarily go away. And often those emotions come back to bite us at very unexpected moments. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that if you ignore an issue, you're gonna like go for your food shop or something and start hysterically crying in the middle of Sainsbury's. I mean, you might do, like, I'm sure people have done that. By people, I probably mean me. But yeah, like, I'm not saying it has to be that. I'm just saying that the emotions can come out in other ways, and it might be a sort of inopportune time. Something happens and it reminds you of that thing, that other thing that happened, that issue you had that you kind of ignored, you didn't really process. And then your emotions might come out in a moment when you really don't need them to, because you haven't given yourself that space to be vulnerable, to heal those emotions. And this could result in sort of an outburst of anger. It doesn't necessarily have to be crying. It could be anger. It could be conflict with other people. It could just manifest in terms of these self-worth issues, these issues with yourself, with not trusting yourself. Not addressing these emotions, these issues as and when they happen, can lead to sort of further depressive moods and getting into a negative mental space. And this can happen over time, like without you necessarily realizing that that is what is happening. And if you are somebody who, you're not extremely comfortable showing your emotions, like even acknowledging your own emotions, but if you're not somebody who's comfortable showing your emotions to other people, this Getting this card in a reading could be extremely terrifying for you. And I understand that if you're not somebody who typically, cries, like you've never cried to your friends or anything like that, or you don't even cry when you're alone, this is so scary. But let me tell you that your vulnerability, your ability to show up for yourself in this way with an expression of emotions, with getting more comfortable with that side of yourself. This is such a power. This is not something to be afraid of. It is really your superpower. And I think the next big change for you is, that's something you're going to be getting more in touch with. It's something you're going to be realizing. Because I suspect that maybe your ego has stopped you for a long time being vulnerable either with yourself or with other people. And when I say ego, I don't necessarily mean that you're like, well, I've no reason to cry. I've no reason to be emotional. Like, I'm perfect. My life's perfect. I don't mean in like a really arrogant way, or you're thinking like, oh, I'm too pretty to get emotional, or like, I'm just so amazing that there's no need to think about the sort of darker aspects, emotions that I might be going through. I don't mean it in that way. I mean that potentially your ego has held you back from expressing your emotions due to self worth issues with opening up, due to a difficulty being vulnerable because you don't trust yourself, even or other people, with your heart, with those deeper parts of yourself, with that vulnerability. You maybe feel as though you are protecting yourself from being rejected by not expressing those deeper parts of yourself. And that is something that is very much controlled by your ego, whether you want to see it like that or not. And our ego serves a purpose. Our ego essentially is there to protect us. It's just that sometimes that can become sort of toxic when we are relying solely on our ego and it's stopping us from connecting with ourselves on a soul level and on an emotional level. And pile one, I don't want to make this reading about me at all. I want this reading to be about you. But I know that sometimes it is helpful if people, get examples. And obviously, I can only go off examples from my own life. And I do just want to say that I really do connect with this pile and this difficulty, like opening up and also admitting when you're hurt. If you have any kind of difficulty with that, I totally relate to that. Listen, pal one, I am a water sign, so I am fundamentally a very emotional person. But being a Scorpio, there were times in my life where, I felt the need to be quite secretive about my emotions, about when I was feeling hurt. I hid certain things, probably due to ego, if I am honest. And it's only really in recent years that I've become more comfortable with expressing when I'm hurt, expressing when I'm angry, and honestly, like having a good cry. I mean, I've always been somebody who cries. Again, I am a water sign. I think that is quite common with us. But I remember when I was growing up and I would get upset and I would have a cry, I would very much sort of shut myself in my room and try and hide that aspect of myself. And I would feel quite ashamed for getting upset over certain things, for feeling things very deeply. I wasn't really giving myself time to process the emotions because mid cry, I'd sort of be scolding myself, kind of saying, like, right, you need to snap out of this energy. This is helping no one. We are not making progress. Like, you just need to get over this. Come on, let's move on. Let's like go and do the next thing. This crying isn't helping anyone. But actually, expressing your emotions openly and feeling no sense of guilt over that, feeling no sense of shame, can actually be incredibly helpful and incredibly healing. Don't lie to me, pal one. How good do you feel after you've had a good cry? Be completely honest because I always feel so, so much better when I have allowed those emotions to come out, to come to the surface. And I'm not just talking about a little chopping onions, tears in your eyes cry. I'm talking like hysterical sobs, ugly crying, red face, wailing. Crying is an amazing release of pain, and honestly, I feel so rejuvenated after I have had a good cry about something, after I have let those emotions come out. And there's honestly no shame in that. I feel no shame for that anymore. And if you are somebody, pal one, who, you still do feel ashamed of expressing yourself in that way, I want you to realize that it can be an incredibly healing opportunity for you too, and that there is nothing to be ashamed of in having emotions. Again, it is a superpower, it is something amazing about you. And I feel like tapping into those emotions is what's going to help you grow and change in the very near future. You might think that being strong all the time and never letting yourself break down like that, never showing emotions to people, you might think that that makes you powerful and you might think that you feel in control. Maybe you are in control for some of the time. However, this doesn't encompass all of you. And I feel as though it is so important that we release our emotions, that we allow ourselves space to express our vulnerability. Maybe that is something you have really struggled with doing, but I think the next big change for you is that you are going to be showing that side of yourself more. That is going to be really coming to the surface, and it's something that's going to help you grow. Now, this could relate to many things. Obviously, these readings are intended for a collective audience, so they are going to reach many people in many different circumstances. But this could refer to many things. It could refer to opening up more to your partner, expressing your deeper needs, not feeling like you are being needy or clingy in any way for expressing those needs and for advocating for yourself in terms of a relationship. It could just be connecting with like minded peers, your friendship circle, and discussing your vulnerabilities with them, being honest with your friends about, certain insecurities that you might have. Maybe you're somebody who, like, your friends look at you and they think, well, pile one is stunning, like they have nothing to worry about. And maybe, people don't really give you compliments for this reason because perhaps you don't really show that you have any insecurities. Perhaps you come across as quite confident on the surface. So people don't know that, just like everybody else, you might struggle with some insecurities. So it could just be opening up about that and that in turn healing you and making you feel so much better. Like, even if it's something that feels quite superficial, it could be that you say to your friend, like, oh, I've not really been feeling myself. I've not been feeling as confident as usual because I've put on weight or I've lost weight or, my body has changed. Maybe, you've been through a pregnancy and you have insecurities about the way your body has changed. And it could just be that other people around you haven't thought to kind of reassure you about this because to them, you still look just as beautiful, you look as amazing, they don't really feel the need to say anything. And maybe when you open up to this group of friends about that particular thing, they also express their vulnerabilities, their issues with their bodies, or something like that. And you have this really sort of healing and connecting moment with this group of people. And maybe it just makes you feel so much better to get this off your chest because maybe you haven't really expressed this to anyone else that you've been feeling this way, and just acknowledging it takes some of that weight off. And what's more, like, if you have a good group around you, they'll probably be surrounding you to reassure you, to make you feel good, to hype you up again, to let you know how amazing you are. It's just that they didn't feel the need to say it because they thought that you knew it. So it could be vulnerability showing yourself in that kind of way. It could also be vulnerability in terms of the way you behave at work and the things that you show to colleagues and the way you advocate and show up for yourself there. You could be somebody who, you never allow yourself to have sick days. You feel like you have to come in every single day and show up, even when you feel awful. It could be that, you have a disability or you have needs of some kind that you could really do with those needs being accommodated in the workplace, but maybe you've been afraid to ask your manager for those recommendations, for those accommodations to be made because you're worried that they'll think you're not strong or you're not a good worker, or you're worried that they won't want you on their team anymore, that you won't be perceived as like this powerful person that maybe you are in the workplace or like you try to present as. Maybe you're worried that they then won't see you that way. I'm seeing that being vulnerable and allowing yourself to open up like that and actually express your needs, telling people what you need, is going to work to your advantage. I think that's something that's changing for you. You're not feeling guilty and bad about asking for the things that you need. And I think that is so, so important for your healing and growth, and something that's going to make you feel incredibly empowered. especially if it's in a work setting. Asking for the things that you need is only going to make you a better employee. It's going to make your work better. It's going to help you with your self-development on a massive scale, and that can only be a positive change. Just like with the disability message coming through again, for some reason I'm getting that, you could be somebody who is in the process of seeking help from the government for a disability, and you have to be very vulnerable with your like physical or mental issues in order to access that help. Maybe this has been a very difficult process. It hasn't been something that's, come easily at all. And maybe it's kind of put you off seeking this help because if on a day-to-day basis you struggle with these physical or like mental or emotional aspects, it's really acknowledging that, like maybe you have to discuss that with like a tribunal of people in order to access the help that you need, and maybe that's kind of scaring you off. But again, there is nothing wrong with advocating for yourself, for sticking up for yourself, and for telling people what you need. You are very much entitled to help. Please don't ever think that you're not. Please don't think that it makes you weak. It really, really doesn't. I feel like you are really stepping into an era of acknowledging that your self-worth doesn't come from this facade of being like strong, and that strength comes from also being emotionally vulnerable and expressing yourself and showing that side of yourself to the world. It could also be that you are scared of rejection in the sense of putting your thoughts, your opinions, and your feelings out to a wider community. So, this could be in terms of if you were interested in a topic and you wanted to talk about it on social media, you wanted to discuss a particular topic on a platform, but you were scared of sharing your own experience because that would make you vulnerable. Maybe you have been through something that you want to discuss with a wider network of people, and you're worried about the self-worth issues that could come up within you based on people's comments, based on what other people might think. And I feel like this is something you are changing. This is a big change that is happening for you, is that you are getting out of that mindset where you are reliant on other people's validation, where that means so much to you. I think you are relying on yourself more for your sense of worth. I think you are validating yourself via this expression of emotions, with allowing yourself to feel safe and comfortable crying or with getting emotional. I think you are getting to the stage where you are not caring as much what other people think about you, and you're not caring if you come across as weak for saying a certain thing. You realize that your strength is within showing yourself in that way, showing up for yourself, showcasing your empathy, your compassion, your loving, feminine, beautiful nature. These are all things that are going to help you grow. And I think that is very much going to be showing itself in some aspect of your life in the upcoming few months. Okay, Palawan, I hope this is resonating for you so far. We are now going to move on to the tarot portion of your reading, so please bear with me and we will have a look into that. Thank you, Palawan. See you in your tarot reading. Welcome back, Palawan. We are going to get straight into it by looking at the tarot we have pulled for you. We are using the Midnight Magic Tarot deck. It is a tarot deck of mushrooms. Let's have a look at what you've got. We have Judgment in reverse. We have the Page of Wands in reverse. We have the Nine of Wands upright. We have the Seven of Cups upright. We have the Hanged Man in reverse. We have the Hermit in reverse. We have the Six of Pentacles upright. We have the Ace of Swords upright. We have the Star upright. And we have the Emperor upright. Let me just check all the cards are in frame. Okay, I've just moved the camera a little bit so that you can see all of the cards. If you would like to take a moment to pause to have a look at them, you are more than welcome to do that now. Okay, pile one. So, something that I feel will be changing for you. Well, firstly, let's address the current energy or the energy that you've been in the recent past. I'm sorry if anyone feels called out by this, but I'm just trying to be honest with what the cards are saying. So, with the Judgment card in reverse, this often talks about a failure to learn lessons. It can be a lack of self awareness in some ways. And I feel as though maybe this has been something that you've dealt with in the past because of your inability to express your emotions. And you might think that, you are a self aware person. And I think that you are in the sense of how you show up for other people in the world. It could be that you're self aware in terms of like your behavior, your manners towards other people. You know how to treat other people well. Perhaps you have or you leave a safe space for other people's emotions. You allow friends to open up to you. Maybe you give good advice, you are there for people, all of that, like, it speaks of self awareness. But I feel like when it comes to you, you are incredibly harsh on yourself. You lack the self awareness to really allow yourself to, again, like we said in your oracle reading, process your emotions and to really allow yourself to feel vulnerable. It's like you lack self-awareness in the ability to of giving yourself space to do that, and I think that is something that's going to be really changing for you with the progress that you're making. It could be that you've actually dealt with some bad self-esteem issues at times and some self-loathing. It could be that you are very judgmental towards yourself for having emotions, or you have been at one point. Maybe you haven't wanted to be honest with yourself about the fact that you have felt certain emotions because you think it makes you weak or you think it makes you lesser than. So you have sort of made the same mistakes. You haven't learnt your lesson in terms of processing emotions. So, one example that I can think of with this, and this doesn't have to apply specifically to you, this could be like within any context that you want to take it. But let's say that you are in a romantic relationship with somebody and you find out that they have broken your trust in some way. Perhaps they have not been loyal, perhaps they have cheated on you or something like that. And maybe if something like that has happened, you haven't really allowed yourself to feel the emotions that come with that. And this in turn has led to issues further down the line, perhaps in like a next relationship. So, like, let's say this person's cheated on you, and you feel a lot of anger and you break up with them, and you don't want to wallow in those feelings. You don't want to sort of reflect on the situation because you're like, right, it's done now. Let's move on to the next thing. I am not thinking about this person because they are not worth my time. And no, that person isn't necessarily worth your time. But if introspection is what you need in order to process the emotions that have come with that trauma, then you are worth that level of introspection. It is worthwhile to you, to your development, to allow yourself to feel those emotions. And I feel like sometimes you have tried to bypass them, you have tried to go straight to like healing without really thinking or like without really feeling, without really giving yourself chance to feel and then to heal. You have tried to jump like straight to the healing stage, and that can't be done unless you allow yourself to process certain emotions and certain hurts that you've been through. So let's say somebody has cheated on you, you have broken up with them, you feel as though you've moved on. Maybe you've moved on with the next person. And it could be that you think you are over that situation because you're like, well, I know that person isn't worth my time, so I'm over them. And you might be over them, but you might not be over what has happened to you because they have done something traumatic towards you. Maybe you have not fully processed that, you're not over it. So in this next relationship, maybe you are not fully able to show up for the other person because you're lacking in trust. Maybe you feel like you're not able to make a commitment to this next person because deep down you're still carrying some of these wounds from that previous relationship. And you might be saying to yourself, like, well, I don't want to commit to this person because I committed, I gave my all last time and I ended up hurt. This ended up happening. So, you can't trust anyone and I'm not going to trust anyone going forward. Perhaps you are still clinging on to those beliefs. And that is something, it might feel logical in your mind to preserve yourself. It's a means of self preservation, it's a coping mechanism. You might feel the need to put up those walls in terms of that, and you might feel as though that's a very logical thing to do. But really, it comes from a place of not having been able to process these deeper emotions. And also, there's an element of feeling like you're not able to trust yourself. And, that has contributed to this lack of self esteem, these self worth issues, because you might think that the mistakes of other people reflect badly on you and that you made a bad or wrong decision by choosing to trust people or something like that. Which again is not the case. What people do to you is not your fault. It is not because you made a bad decision. It is because we are all human and we are all learning. But I feel as though something that's really going to be changing for you is you are going to be expressing yourself more with this star card. The star card often talks of healing and rejuvenation, and I really do feel as though you are going to be experiencing some intense healing, and this could drag up a lot of emotions, but that is going to be for your best growth. It could even be that you are accessing therapy of some kind. Maybe, that's something you thought that you would never do, and you are going to be accessing therapy. You are going to be getting support with your emotions, your mental health, and that is really going to help you. It's really going to help transform you because, again, you'll be seeing these emotions as your strength. Your newfound ability to process them will be an amazing gift to you. I'm leaning towards the idea that you may have, and again, this isn't going to apply for everybody, so take this however it resonates for you. It could apply to multiple situations, but let's use the example of a romantic relationship, of that kind of partnership. So with this Page of Wands in reverse, I'm not actually sensing that that is you. I am sensing that that is a person that you have dealt with in the past. It could be a romantic partnership, it could be a friend, a family member, it could be a colleague. Again, take it however it applies. But this Page of Wands often speaks about somebody who can be a bit of a big baby, like, if I'm honest with you, can be quite childish, quite immature, sort of impatient, lacking in concrete ideas, a little bit lazy, quite low effort as a person, unreliable, that kind of energy. And I don't think that is you. I think maybe that is somebody who you have dealt with in any one of these contexts that I've just mentioned. It doesn't have to be romantic, but let's say it is romantic. It could be that you have been in partnerships in the past with these kinds of people, and a part of you has almost prided yourself in being somebody who isn't needy, being somebody who isn't clingy or doesn't express their vulnerabilities, because this person who you have dealt with, they are too lazy to deal with probably their own emotions. They are probably quite disconnected from their own emotions, and therefore they cannot deal with the burden of other people's emotions. And I feel as though you might have been a person at one point or another who you prided yourself on not being a burden. You didn't express your needs, you just kind of got along with things. Maybe you felt good about the fact at one point that, you could be in a relationship and not really expect or ask for much from the other person. You felt as though you were being a good partner by not being naggy or something like that. And maybe that is where you derived some of your self-worth. You thought that you would be in a happy partnership with this person if, you didn't nag them, you didn't get on at them, you didn't express like your needs emotionally, you just sort of stayed silent and kept that to yourself. However, it's like the longer you were with this person, the more unhappy you became because they are so low effort that they weren't willing to give anything to this relationship. It's like you could not be asking for anything. You could be giving this person the world, but they still throw tantrums, they still act childish, they still don't show up for you in any way. And it's like you were becoming more and more disillusioned with this, and you were really questioning if that's what you want. But it was also making you question your self worth because you thought, well, if you thought the way this person treated you was a reflection of your worth, because originally you thought, if I just act this way, if I don't ask for anything, then we're going to have this happy relationship, things are going to be fine. And when that wasn't the case, it got you questioning. You were thinking, like, well, I ask for so little from this person, and they're still not happy. They're still throwing tantrums. They're still acting immaturely. So, what is going on? You are thinking, like, am I asking for too much? It could be that you raised one concern to this person, you brought up an important issue, and maybe that's the first time you've ever like raised an issue with this person, you've ever tried to like emotionally connect or have a proper emotional conversation where the both of you are vulnerable, and maybe this person acted as though it was such a burden for you to have said that, even though in the grand scheme of things, maybe you were asking for something extremely minuscule, and that made you question yourself. You thought, well, am I not even worth doing XYZ? Can they not even change their behavior in this little way? And it made you question your worth. But it's not that you were ever asking too much from this person, it's that you weren't asking for enough. You have always been too good for this person. You have always given this person too much. And I think something that is changing for you is that you are realizing that as you get more comfortable expressing your emotions to yourself, you are realizing that you also want your partners to be on the same page as you. Or if it's not a partner, you want, a potential work relationship, a business partnership to be on the same page as you. You want to be able to discuss the deeper issues without this person blowing up, without them making it into a massive thing. Not all emotional conversations have to end in disaster, and I think that is something you are learning and a way you are changing. Maybe you have actually recently got out of a relationship, or at the very least, you are questioning your relationship and whether the person who you are with, whether they truly align with you and who you want to be, because you have at one point asked for the bare minimum from this person and they haven't even been willing to give that. And that is something you are questioning, or you have recently got out of this stage and you are entering a new phase of your life that is going to be so monumental for your growth. But it's like with this hanged man in reverse, you have maybe been in this stagnant energy for a long time. And let's say that it is a relationship, maybe you feel as though you have invested such a lot into this person and ultimately it has amounted to very little. Maybe you have been unwilling to sacrifice this person. I don't mean literally sacrifice them, I mean like to give them up. Maybe you have been convincing yourself that that's not something you want to do because you feel you've invested a lot of time in them. Maybe you are reaching an age where you thought, like, oh, I would be doing XYZ thing by now. Maybe that's like getting married or starting a family. And maybe you tied some of your self worth with having a committed partnership, with getting married, or with starting a family. And you've been in this stagnant energy because you haven't sort of wanted to release this person or this thing, whatever it was that wasn't good for you, because you were clinging on to that idea of like, well, I'm going to do XYZ by this certain age, and that is going to be the life that's sort of set in stone for me. So there's been a sort of long period of stagnation, and for you, and of you being unwilling to let this person or this thing go. But whatever situation you've been put in, this has been a huge test of your strength, your grit, your resilience. This has felt like a last stand. Whatever this situation is with this page of wands that you've been in, the nine of wands is showing that it has really tested you to some extreme degree. And maybe you have reached the end of your tether, you cannot take it anymore. Perhaps you have, like recently ended a relationship because you were pushed to your absolute limits. Something snapped within you and you realize that you can't carry this burden forever, that something has to change. So maybe you've ended it, or that's something you're going through right now. It's something you're thinking about. You can no longer remain in this stagnant energy, because I'm getting with the Seven of Cups that you have been dreaming up another life for yourself. You have been conjuring ideas about what you want to do next, and the way this other person is showing up for you, or shall I say not showing up for you, it is not aligned with where you want to be. And I think you are getting to the stage where you are realizing that, and you are prioritizing your own needs and your own growth. So with this Hermit card in reverse, the Hermit can often talk about periods of isolation, of loneliness. And I feel whatever you've been through, because you haven't been willing to express your emotions, to express your vulnerability, I think that it has made you feel very lonely because maybe, in this relationship, let's say that you've been in, if you haven't felt comfortable or if you haven't been given a safe space to express your emotions, it's like you've thought to yourself, well, I'm in this partnership, I'm in this friendship, I'm in this relationship of some kind, and I'm with this person, but I'm actually feeling more lonely than ever. Like I thought, being in this committed partnership or, friendship would make me very happy. I thought this is where I would want to be at this stage in my life. But actually, I feel very alone, and I feel this person is actually bringing me down rather than lifting me up. They're not allowing me space to better myself, to express my emotions, to grow. But the beautiful thing about the Hermit in reverse, although it can speak to that loneliness, it also talks about returning to society. So I feel as though a big change for you is you will be returning to society in some way. And I think maybe that means you will be reaching out to people for support. With this Six of Pentacles, the Six of Pentacles can often represent accepting support from external sources. Maybe that's something you haven't ever felt comfortable doing, but I sense that that is very much something that's changing for you. If you have ended a relationship, it could be that in the near future, once you have done this work in yourself and once you are seeing that expression of emotions is a superpower and not a weakness in any way, it could be that you are returning to the dating world and you are quite upfront about your needs. This situation with this other person has given you a lot of clarity with this Ace of Swords, a lot of growth, and you are never again going to show up in a relationship and not express your needs to somebody. You are going to be more assertive than ever, but also more in touch with your own emotional needs. And that is something that's a very, very beautiful and transformative change for you. It could just be that you are returning to society in the way that you are spending more time with loved ones, with friends. Maybe you are going out more. Maybe you are relying more on friends for advice, for support. It could go back to the disability thing we talked about, like a Six of Pentacles can sometimes be material support. So it could be that once you are able to be vulnerable with these physical or mental or emotional struggles that you have, it could be that you get the material support that you desperately need, or maybe material accommodations in terms of like accommodations being made for you at work. This is so beautiful because it is just all about you coming out of this shell and being willing to express your needs, to be vulnerable, and that is so important to your development and growth. It's like you are finally really processing the things that make you happy, the things that make you feel good, and you are not just living in this Seven of Cups fantasy because, Seven of Cups can also represent fantasy. So, when you were at the stage where you thought like, oh, I thought I would be happy at this age in this partnership, or, if I got married to this person or any of that, it could be that you thought that things would get better once XYZ happens, and you have totally snapped out to that fantasy by allowing yourself to process those emotions that you might have been harboring for a long time. And that is a really beautiful thing and something that's definitely going to help with your growth. And with this Ace of Swords, it's like this realization brings you such a lot of clarity and new awareness. It's like you are now developing that sense of self awareness and realizing that your worth isn't necessarily tied to how somebody else treats you. Your worth comes from within. You are experiencing some beautiful development over these next few months, and if you have been able to grow in that way, I am very, very proud of you, pile one. You need to know that because I know that it isn't easy to develop in those ways, but I feel as though this will only be for your highest and best good. And with this Emperor card, it's actually showing me that you are now realizing that you can still be that voice of authority, that in control person, that person that other people rely on, that person who is stable, who shows up for themselves and others. But the emotions, the healing that takes place with this Star card, the things that you are able to now express and you don't feel bad about it, you don't feel guilty, that is helping you remain in this energy. Again, it is a strength. You can still be this incredibly strong, assertive, emperor type person, but processing your emotions and allowing that healing to take place, that rejuvenation will only help with that. It won't hinder it in any way. I think that is something that you are very much realizing. Okay, Pal 1, that is what I am getting for your reading. We are just going to finish your reading with a little bit of advice from the Sacred Self Care Oracle because I love using this oracle. I think it's so beautiful and I just think it really helps with giving advice for the end of a reading. So, yeah, we'll have a look at that now. Just bear with me. Okay, pal one. So that flew out of the deck face up. So it definitely wanted me to give you this message. So we have number 30, look for fairies. Now, I feel as though, pal one, this relates to you learning to find the magic in life again, learning to find the magic within you that comes from this healing and this newfound ability to process your emotions and to express your vulnerabilities, to show yourself in a vulnerable way. I feel as though doing this is going to allow so many opportunities to flow to you, so much magic, so much more emotional support, so much more material support. It could be that, if you are able to express yourself in a vulnerable way on like a social media platform or something like that, you could help and heal so many other people. And this makes you feel absolutely magical. It makes you feel more powerful than ever. Again, you are realizing that emotions are strength. It could also be that the number 30 or the age of 30 is relevant to you. Maybe, you have got to that age and you have felt a lot of pressure to conform to a certain way of life. Maybe you have received some pressure from your family to have a child, or like somebody has thought that, if you were in this relationship, maybe your family have been pressurizing you to settle with that person. And, maybe you have tried to express yourself in an emotional way before. You've said, like, I'm not too happy in this relationship. And maybe you've been given some bad advice somewhere down the road, and somebody said to you, like, well, relationships aren't perfect, but, just stick with it. This person's okay. Like, maybe they've encouraged you to stick with this person when really deep down you were sensing that maybe that wasn't the best thing to do, something like that. Because maybe they've said, like, well, you're getting to 30 and you need to start thinking about like settling down or having a family or something like that. Maybe you felt a lot of pressure at that age. But you are now realizing that your self worth does not come from your ability to settle down or to start a family. And it's not like those things are off limits to you. You still very much have the opportunity to pursue those things if that is something that you want. But you do not have to settle for anything that is less than magic. That is what I'm getting. You don't have to settle for something that is not allowing you to be the most beautiful, vulnerable, magical version of yourself. There are so many beautiful ways you can express yourself, and allowing yourself to process your emotions and to show yourself in that more vulnerable way will only help with this sense of self development and will allow you to shine, will allow you to show your magic powers. With Look for Fairies, I'm also thinking of like having little friends by your side who are helping to guide you, who are helping to bring the magic to you in a way. So, this could be like an online community, it could be a friendship circle, it could just be surrounding yourself with people who truly allow you to be vulnerable and who support you in all aspects of life, and who are very much here to encourage you and help you discover or rediscover this magic of life, maybe to take you on new adventures, to like go traveling, to try different things, new hobbies, things you've never done before, things you thought were maybe off limits to you due to these self worth issues. All of that, like the world is yours to explore, the world is full of magic, and I feel that is something you are rediscovering in these next few months, and that is something that's going to be changing for you on a massive scale. Okay, Pal One, that was your reading. I really hope you enjoyed it. I hope it resonated. If any tiny little thing in the reading did resonate, please like the video. Please leave a comment below. I would really, really appreciate the support. Any support you can give me would be absolutely amazing. Thank you, Pal One. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye. Hi, Pile 2 Collective. Welcome to your reading. If you chose this clear crystal tower, this will be your reading. Let's get straight into it with the oracle reading. Again, as usual, this reading will be split into two main sections. We are starting with one oracle card to do an oracle reading, and then we will be moving on to the tarot portion in the next section. So if you want to know a little bit more about what's going to happen in this reading, please watch the introduction. But without any more hesitation, let's have a look at which oracle card you got, pile two. Okay, pile two. So we have resurrection, commitment, purification, devotion. So, pile two, I'm feeling as though a big transformational change that will be happening for you in the upcoming future will be a resurrection of you. And I know that sounds strange, but it's like you are becoming this new version of you, a real glow up. It's as though the old version of you has left, has gone, and you are becoming this new version, this new person. You are resurrecting in the sense that you are enjoying a new journey of self discovery. You are learning more about yourself than ever before. You are transforming into this new person based on what you have learned. And it is going to feel so invigorating. It's like you've been given this new lease of life, this new spark of passion to do something, to be a different person. And resurrection, it also makes me think of like obviously coming back from the dead, being resurrected. So perhaps you were struggling with a loss of identity in some way. Perhaps you were struggling mentally or emotionally, or even physically, or maybe you have been through a period of burnout or, feeling like everything is chaos. Maybe you have felt as though life has recently sort of got on top of you. You have been very busy, things have felt very chaotic. Could be work, could just be like in your home life in general, things just feel out of balance and it feels like you've lost that sense of who you are. You sort of lost the spark of what makes you you, and that is something that is changing in the sense that you have lost that version of you, but you are becoming a better version of you. You are coming back brighter and stronger than ever. This new version is resurrecting and it's giving life to all these new opportunities, things you might have never thought possible. That is very much something that's changing for you in the upcoming months, and that is very exciting. Commitment and devotion could mean any number of things. Obviously, this is a collective reading, but it could be that a new commitment with another person is coming into your life, and this will offer you this sense of starting anew. Maybe you're starting fresh with somebody new. They are offering you a literal commitment, they are offering you devotion, or it could just be that if you are already in a relationship of some kind or a partnership, it could be that there is a new sense of commitment being brought forward in that connection. It could be that a deeper level of commitment and devotion is being put forward. Maybe you are being offered almost like a new life with somebody. Maybe you are literally changing spaces, like you are moving in with somebody to a new home. It's like a fresh start or something like that. Something has been cleansed with the purification. So it could be that, like, maybe you were in a relationship with this person in the past and it didn't work, and you're trying again with that relationship, and it's like this slate has been wiped clean. Both of you have transformed a lot. There has been a lot of purification, a lot of cleansing in that sense, and you are trying again with this newfound sense of commitment and devotion. But it doesn't have to be in terms of a relationship, that can be in relation to anything. So it could be that you are starting again with a whole new life in terms of your career. You are going down a different path. You are no longer that old version of you, whatever you did as a job previously. You are going down this new route, and it's something you're very committed to, very devoted to. Maybe it feels as though you're aligning with like your life purpose. If you identify as having a life purpose, maybe that is being brought to light. It could just also be in the sense of commitment to yourself, and especially, if you have been like struggling with burnout or life getting on top of you with being really busy and for not allocating any time for yourself, it could be that you are committing to yourself on another level. You are, putting boundaries in place and deciding that when you need rest, you are prioritizing rest. It could be that you are committed to a physical workout routine, or a skincare routine, or even with purification, maybe just cleansing your space, like making sure that your space is a nice place to occupy and that everything feels clean and fresh, and allowing yourself time to make that space a lovely place to be. Something like that, something that makes you feel purified, but also feel as though there's this sense of devotion with whatever you are putting your energy into. Again, it could be devotion to yourself, to your self-care, to your growth. It could be devotion between you and another person, if this is regarding a romantic connection, or just devotion to this newfound path, this new career, these new goals that you have in mind, a new endeavor of some kind. It is just such a beautiful energy in that you are becoming this whole new person. It's given like the old Taylor can't come to the phone right now, she's dead, but you are this new person, and that is bringing so many more opportunities to light. And so many beautiful changes are coming towards you for this reason. You are transforming in a very magical way. Okay, that is what we have got for your Oracle check, pile 2. I hope that this is resonating so far. We are just going to move along to the tarot portion of your reading. So let's have a look at what you've got. Bear with me, pile 2. Hi, pile 2. Welcome back to the tarot portion of your reading. Without hesitation, let's just get straight into it. We're going to see what cards you've got. Okay, pile 2, we've got the 9 of Swords. We've got the 10 of Wands in reverse. We've got the Queen of Swords in reverse. We've got the 7 of Wands. We've got the 2 of Cups. We've got the King of Wands. We've got the Magician. We've got the 10 of Cups. We've got the Ace of Wands. And we've got the Queen of Cups. Okay, I'm just going to quickly check that all the cards are in frame. Okay, pile 2, those are your cards. I've just checked and it seems as though they are all in frame. So please feel free to pause as needed if you would like to look at the cards and just reflect on the cards that you pulled. Okay, pile 2. So in the not so distant past or currently, you could have been in this 9 of Swords and the 10 of Wands reversed energy, also the Queen of Swords, which, you know, we'll talk about in a minute. But just with this 9 of Swords, I'm sensing that you are somebody who has been struggling with a lot of anxiety, a lot of fear. You have been sort of on the verge of emotional collapse as of recently. You could have been experiencing a lot of anxiety, a lot of pessimism, a lot of this feeling that you are at the end of your tether, you're in despair. You could have spent a lot of nights up crying, because I know, like, obviously this card doesn't have that particular imagery, it's a mushroom deck, but I know on the original Rider-Waite-Smith tarot, it's like depicting somebody in bed, up in bed, crying, and this could have been you. You could have had many sleepless nights recently. You could have really been going through it emotionally, mentally. These past few months could have been a really emotionally turbulent time for you, a very stressful time, filled with a lot of worry about what is to come, a lot of worry about the upcoming future, about where your life is going, about how you will manage to cope with things. You could have felt quite lonely and isolated a lot of the time, like you didn't really have anyone to rely on. With the 10 of Wands in reverse, I mean, regardless of whether it's upright or reversed, it does indicate like burnout of some kind. In reverse, it often refers to a failure to delegate. It refers to a person taking on too much, shouldering too much responsibility, taking on more than what they can carry, on the verge of collapse, on the verge of having a breakdown because this person has been pushed to their limits. That could very well be something that you have gone through recently. It could be that you don't have a sense of close connection, potentially with a romantic partner or just other people in your life, or perhaps even at work with colleagues. You feel as though you are doing the brunt of the work, you are taking on too much. You don't feel like there's an equal and happy partnership with the people, whoever they are, that you deal with in your life, or that's how you felt in recent months. And this has sort of made you lose yourself with this Queen of Swords in reverse. I'm feeling as though while some of this has been happening for you, it's made you lose touch with who you are, with your purpose or something, with what you're here to do, with your sense of identity. You haven't had any room to grow because you have been so busy and life has felt so chaotic. You've been dealing with all this anxiety, all this feeling of being overburdened, of having too much responsibility thrust upon you, that there's been no room for movement in terms of your self development and ways that you can help better yourself. You haven't been able to commit to yourself in any way. And this has got you feeling like you're in a position where you have kind of lost touch with who you are. And to some degree, you might have felt in the not so distant past that you actually don't like who you are at the moment. Perhaps with this Queen of Swords in reverse, you could have been feeling like you are more pessimistic, which is understandable. Please don't beat yourself up if you have been dealing with mental health struggles, if you have gone through some kind of depression, or if you are facing anxiety issues. Please never feel bad about having pessimistic thoughts. Please don't ever feel as though if you think negative thoughts, that those thoughts will manifest into your reality. Whether you believe in manifestation or not, having anxiety, having depression, having intrusive thoughts does not mean that those thoughts will come to fruition. I just need you to know that, because I know there are a lot of readers and a lot of people generally out there who indicate that any negative thought that you have will happen in reality, and that is not the case. Yes, there is something to be said for not remaining in a victim mentality. Once you are in that position to try and better yourself, to try and work on yourself, to get out of whatever depression or anxiety you are currently experiencing, yes, we can always do one tiny thing to try and help ourselves. But sometimes we need that help and support in order to do that and to try and get past those negative thoughts. So I don't want you to feel bad if you are a person who at one stage or another hasn't been able to sort of escape that pessimism. I guarantee that it is something that everybody has been through. We are all in this human experience together. It does not make you a bad person if you have in some way given in to these negative thoughts at one stage in your life. That has given you the opportunity to grow. And I just want to say at the start of this reading that it is not all bad. Like, you will be coming out of this, and this is something, we got the resurrection card, so that part of you is now dead. You have learned from it, you have grown from it, but you are not staying in that stagnant energy forever. So, this is going to improve. I just want to say that if you are still currently experiencing a little bit of this and you are worried, like maybe you think, if you're watching this in 2024, again, like, the reading is intended to be timeless, but if you are thinking, 2023 wasn't my year, I felt awful, I'm worried about feeling that awful again, I'm just saying that things will really be changing for you in a very positive way. You are going to be transforming in so many ways that are really beautiful, and I just want you to know that, because I know that this might be like a little bit difficult to talk about if you're still experiencing a little bit of this energy, or it's something that you've been through very recently. I know you might be thinking that it's quite difficult to listen to, which I understand. And again, like, if you're not able to listen to this in this current space, then please don't force yourself. There's no reason to do that. Come back to the reading when you are feeling in a space to deal with those emotions. But yeah, I just wanted to say, please don't feel bad if you have experienced that. But yeah, I am sensing with this Queen of Swords in reverse, because of all this responsibility that's been put on you, because of this stress and this burden, it has made you into a person who you don't want to be, a person who you don't really recognize. Perhaps you had noticed yourself becoming a bit more spiteful, a bit more cruel, and maybe even towards yourself. Like, it could be that you are very down on yourself, using very critical language towards yourself even, or it could just be that you feel yourself lashing out and being, a little bit more bitter towards other people. Maybe you have felt yourself being a little bit harsh with your words, but I feel as though it is because if you felt that way, it's because you've been pushed to the end of your tether. You are being given too much, and it has made you lash out in ways that you aren't entirely comfortable with. It has made you think like, this isn't who I am. That's not a way that I want to behave. And it has made you sort of doubt who you are. And you really want to like bury that version of yourself. You really want to get out of that energy. You don't want to be that person who, is bitter, is like manipulative, and can be cruel. That is not you. You know it's not you. But I just feel as though, in whatever circumstance, you have just had the burden of life thrust upon you, and it feels as though you haven't really got that support with it. Like you've been carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders alone. This could be in a work sense. It could feel that you carry the brunt of the responsibility, and again, that your colleagues aren't really helping you out. You feel overburdened in that sense. It could be in terms of your home life, like if you carry most of the responsibility of taking care of the house or looking after the children. It could feel as though you felt unsupported in that way, like in your partnership or something like that. It just feels like you have been overextending yourself and overgiving, and this has turned you into a person who you're not happy with. And I feel as though a big change for you in the upcoming future is you are going to be rediscovering yourself. You are going to be stepping out of this Queen of Wands reversed energy and, eventually getting to this Queen of Cups energy. But that is something that we will discuss in a few minutes. But first, we need to discuss how you're going to get to that stage, like what's going to happen for you to reach that level of transformation. It could be that you've sort of placed these impositions on yourself. Like with the Seven of Wands, it talks about, being defensive and protecting your territory. So let's shine some light on the work example. For instance, it could be with the Seven of Wands, it could be that you feel the need to take on the most responsibility of everyone out of your workplace, because you feel if you don't take on this responsibility that they'll replace you with somebody else. You feel like you won't be able to climb up the ladder in a corporate way if you don't take on all this extra stuff, and you feel as though it's your responsibility to push yourself to those limits in order to get the highest on that ladder, to rank highest is what I'm getting. So it could be something like that in a work sense. Or it could be that in a partnership, like a romantic partnership of some kind, if you are like taking on all of this work, it could be that you're getting external pressure to just get on with it. It could even be something as simple as like somebody has come round to your house and they've criticized the way that your house looks, and they've implied that it's your responsibility to take on the share of the chores. Even if you have like a partner who could be contributing to that, it's been indicated that you are somehow lesser than because you are not the one taking on the sole responsibility of the chores. Like it's being indicated that that's your job, it's your responsibility, and therefore you're having to take on everything. And you are taking on so much that it's led to this sense of despair. So it could be that you are protecting your territory and having to defend yourself in a way like that. Again, doesn't have to be like that, is just one example. But in whatever situation you've been put in, it's like you have to protect your territory and stick up for yourself. It could be that there is a lot of stress and fear about finding a new home or something like that. Maybe there are issues within your home. Maybe you rent your home and it's like asking your landlord to help carry out essential repairs, and maybe they have not been dealing with that, and you feel as though, it's somehow your responsibility to sort all of that out, even though you sort of asked for external help. Perhaps that hasn't been provided and you feel completely unsupported. You aren't in a place where your territory feels safe or something like that. However, I am seeing, pal, too, that one of the big, beautiful changes, the big, beautiful transformations happening for you is that you are going to find this sense of unity, this sense of connection with this Two of Cups. And this is going to bring forth this sense of resurrection, this sense of becoming anew. Now, it could be that you are developing the relationship with yourself. You are becoming more closely connected with yourself, your needs. You are prioritizing you in that sense, and that is how you are sort of glowing up and transforming. This could also refer to like a joining forces in terms of a mutually respectful relationship. It could be with somebody new. It could be that somebody brand new is coming into your life and you are establishing a very respectful and balanced relationship with them. It could be that somebody is coming in to show you that, you don't have to take on all these things by yourself. You could be aligning with somebody very supportive, somebody who is willing to meet you halfway, somebody who is willing to offer you the support in any way you need, which is a truly beautiful energy. It could be that, this new person who you potentially meet, it could be that you feel as though you really connect with them because your values align. They don't think, for example, it's one person's job in a relationship to carry out like domestic labor. They feel as though that should be split. And that is something you align with, and you feel very connected to them. You're glad that you've met somebody with the same views as you, and you feel as though this is somebody who you can really progress with, and it's also somebody who you have a lot of attraction towards. And maybe it is their behavior that kind of makes you even more attracted, like the fact they have the same values as you. It could be somebody who shows up in this King of Wands energy, and they are a very optimistic person. They are very decisive. They are a lot more bold than maybe people you have dealt with in the past. And they are a leader, but a good leader knows that leading isn't just bossing somebody around. It's not telling somebody what to do. It's offering support and guiding people, and a good leader sets an example. So this could be like a manager or something, or it could be this romantic partner. But either way, you are dealing with somebody who is in their wands energy, and they know that a part of being a good leader is sharing some of the brunt of the responsibility, that it's not all on one person. You can be a good leader by setting an example and also showing like support and compassion towards whoever you're dealing with. So again, this could be that you are experiencing transformation by somebody coming in to help lead, to help guide and support you, and shouldering some of that responsibility and taking you away from the burdens that you are currently experiencing. It could be like a manager taking on more work or delegating more tasks to other people because they see how hard you're working and that you're really struggling and you're suffering with this burnout. Or it could just be, again, this Two of Cups person who has the same ideas as you, the same energy. They know that they have to share responsibility of certain tasks, like it has to be a mutual arrangement. It could also be that you are in this King of Wands energy and you are making those bold decisions to take control of your life in some way. And if that means, leaving a dead end situation, like a relationship that wasn't serving you, that made you feel on the verge of collapse, it could just be that you are being the leader in your own life and you are understanding that, if you are experiencing burnout, you need to take a step back and make those bold decisions to remove yourself from the situation that is causing that. And with this Two of Cups, it doesn't necessarily have to be that it is someone new. It could be reconnecting with a partner who you've experienced difficulty with recently. Perhaps you have finally been able to really show your emotions to this person. The fact that you feel like within this relationship, you have been taking on the brunt of the responsibility. So it could be that you have an emotional discussion about that and that you really connect, and this person changes for the better. This person is able to show up for you in a way that they previously couldn't. It could be something like that. If it is regarding a relationship, this Ace of Wands is indicating that there's going to be a new spark of passion in this relationship. So it could be that, if it's this person who wasn't showing up for you and now they are, that reignites your attraction, that gets you connecting on a deeper level or in a physical way. And maybe something that is transforming for you is like your physical relationship with this person, or it could just be a new idea, a new spark of enthusiasm towards yourself. It could be like, right, I am not happy with this person who is in this Queen of Swords energy, and I want to redirect that energy elsewhere. You could be investing in yourself more, especially, if you have experienced a lot of busyness recently and you've got to the stage of burnout. It could be that you are transforming, and once you are able to sit back and allow yourself the time to recuperate from those feelings, that you have a new spark towards life, towards accessing all these magical, beautiful experiences that life has to offer. Because maybe now you have the time to do so, because the load is being lightened in some way. That is something that is very much changing and transforming for you. And with this Magician, I'm feeling as though you are stepping into an energy of finally being able to romanticize your life again, because you have allowed yourself to have that rest, that recuperation, and you have allowed yourself to step into this new version of you. The Magician can often refer to like resourcefulness and, making something out of nothing. And I feel as though whatever situation you've been in that has left you full of anxiety, has left you feeling bereft in some way, regardless of what you have been through, you are still able to be so resourceful and you are able to make something out of nothing. So let's say if you have ultimately decided that, let's say this romantic partner, you have decided to end things with them because it wasn't serving you, you could feel as though you could be very anxious about the fact that, maybe you have to move out, or you're worried about finding a home, you're worried about your material stability, your finances. If you were to lessen your load by removing that person from your life, by removing the stress that they cause you, it would cause you other stress in terms of finances. But this is telling you, if you are choosing to change and prioritize your growth, you will be able to create something even when you feel as though there is nothing. You will get by using your resourcefulness, using your ability to make everything into magic. It could be that, let's say you are in this partnership and this person is constantly taking from you, and you are doubting whether you should leave them because you're like, well, we are comfortable in this home that we have. Like, we have a nice big home, we have a nice stable financial life. Maybe I'm worried about, going it alone or something like that. This is telling you that whatever you decide to do, you will find ways to do it and create magic in your life. And whatever happens, even if you have to like go it alone for a bit, if that is something that you want to do, if you are in this partnership that you are feeling as though is bad for you, whatever happens, you are going to end up so fulfilled. You are transforming in ways that you can't imagine with this 10 of Cups. This indicates that no matter what, you are going to get this happy home. You are going to get this sense of fulfillment in whatever way that may be. There's going to be domestic security. You are going to feel stable. You're going to feel loved, secure. And again, this transforms you in the way that it allows you this space to be more devoted to yourself, to recommit to yourself, and to help you resurrect into somebody different, and to keep growing in terms of your personal development. This could just be that within the romantic partnership you're in, this person, you have unleashed your burdens, you have told them how you are feeling, and they are now willing to step up to the plate and commit more to you, devote more to you, to make this a happy home, to make it a safe space to be. Or it could be that, you have ended that partnership and you will be meeting someone new who is going to provide that happy home. Like, you are going to be very fulfilled in that your values are aligned, you feel a sense of connection with this person, and they allow you to explore parts of yourself that you thought you might not be able to have access to because maybe you haven't had that in other partnerships, something like that. But either way, you are going to feel very emotionally fulfilled, and this in turn is going to help you step into this Queen of Cups energy. So you're not in Queen of Swords anymore. You are stepping into this person who is able to be compassionate, who is able to be nurturing and supportive, because you actually have time to be that way. Once you have dealt with this sort of burnout situation and you are on the way to recovering from that, you will be very well aware that you have so much to offer, and this in turn will bring light to so many new ideas with the Ace of Wands, and so many new sparks of passion towards things that you thought might never be an opportunity for you. With this Queen of Cups, I'm getting that, once you get out of this energy, you will be able to support people, to counsel people, because you might be in this mutually loving and devoted partnership. It could be that you are discovering more of yourself through this commitment. Like, maybe you are taking your relationship to a deeper stage of commitment. I think we might have said at the beginning of the reading, but it could be that you are like moving in with somebody, or you're getting engaged or married or something like that. you are creating this happy home and this happy life for yourself. And you are realizing that whatever you were putting energy towards, like whether it was a career or another person, or, just something that was not serving your best self, you are realizing that that is not the be all and end all, and you can find fulfillment and a happy way of being in other ways, with other methods. So that is what I am getting for you, pal, too. Let's just finish your reading with some advice from the Sacred Self-Care Oracle. Please bear with me while I shuffle that. Oh, that wanted to come out. Okay, we have number 45, Sing. So, pal, too, with this, it's making me think of somebody who finally has time to step into that more fun and playful side. Like, I'm getting the image of somebody who has been signed off work or something like that, or they are just having a well-deserved day off. Like, maybe if you have been working yourself to the point of burnout, I'm getting the image of somebody who has been dealing with that situation and, for whatever reason, they have to stay at home, like they've been signed off, or they are, just having a day off, and they are going around the house, they are in their pajamas, singing to themselves. Like, maybe it's the first time in weeks that they've had chance to like put on music or listen to music or something like that, and they are really feeling this sense of joy and like, oh my gosh, like I forgot how powerful singing can be. I forgot how happy I feel when I just let loose a little bit and sing at the top of my lungs into a hairbrush, like walking around the house, just having an absolute blast. And this person is realizing that little bits of joy can be found in life in all those little fun, frivolous things that we do. Like, it's not always just about focusing on this one thing and trying to be everything to everyone all at once. The card number is 45, so this could be a significant age for you. Maybe, you are at that age and you are rediscovering your sense of self, and you are looking back at the last few years or the last few months, and you are reassessing what makes you happy, and you are getting this newfound sense of identity through your leisure activities. I'm getting through leisure activities, but it could just be reassessing your needs and what you want from a partnership. It could be that, maybe you have been in a career for a long time and you've been so focused on that you haven't even realized that you're dealing with all this anxiety, or you're getting to the point of burnout. And maybe something's happened, like a health issue or a scare of some kind, that's made you like have to be off work. You can't come into work, and maybe like you're reassessing, what have I been doing all this time, and is this what I want going forward? And I feel like it's really beautiful and transformative in the sense that this is allowing you to truly think about what you want in your future, and also allowing you to potentially tap into these leisure activities to let loose and to sing and to use your voice to advocate for your needs as well, and to create this magic within your life. Again, with this magician card, to be resourceful, to use your resourcefulness to create magic and beauty within your world. Maybe it's just that you are lighting up and you are wanting to sing, you are wanting to let loose for the first time in forever, because you are finally out of this energy that was getting you down. Perhaps you're feeling the urge to sing, to speak out, to express yourself, because you finally feel able to do that. You are finally stepping into this beautiful, powerful, expressive energy. And I think that is just really amazing, pal, too. Maybe you felt this release, you felt able to sing because you feel this sense of relief that a situation is now coming to a close, that it's over. It could be stress to do with like a house, with moving house, or with getting married, or entering a new partnership, or ending a previous partnership, or coming out of a career. It could be so many things, but whatever it is, it's transforming you and creating a big change in the sense that it is giving you such a sense of relief. You are being able to like relax your body, relax your muscles, put your shoulders back, and you are able to sing, you feel able to sing to really tap into that joy and magic of life again. Thank you so much for listening, pal, too. That is all I have for you today. I really hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did enjoy it, if anything did resonate, even just one small detail, please give me a like and please comment below. I would be so, so grateful if you did. Thank you so, so much, pal, too. I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Hi, Pal 3 Collective. Welcome to your reading. As usual, this reading will be split into two sections. We are going to start by looking at this one oracle card to check the energy. We are then going to move to the tarot portion of the reading. If you missed any of the things that this reading is going to cover, then please check out the intro and that will cover everything. Thank you so much for listening. Let's get started with your reading, Pal 3. So if you chose this red crystal tower, this will be your card. We have Goddess Spiral, Rites of Passage, Dreams Support. Okay, Pal 3, so I have some of my own thoughts on this card, which I do want to go into, but I am just going to read a little passage about this card from the Earth Alchemy Oracle guidebook so that I can give you an overview of the type of energy that you are embodying that's going to be a big change in your upcoming future. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce this, so I'm very sorry if I get it wrong, but it says, Selenite likes to radiate light. She holds all parts of you, filling, opening, and expanding you with divine light so you can face whatever you are moving through. Her energy is nurturing and illuminating. She insists that she is here for your glow up. The moment you become more confident in yourself, you see your beauty and worth and glow from the inside out. Take some time to sit with them in meditation. She is a goddess vibration that supports all stages of womanhood and rites of passage from maiden, mother to crone. She says you often hear people describing expectant mothers as glowing because they are exuding this enhanced white feminine light, strength, and love. She promotes fertility, nurturing seeds of creation, whether they are ideas, adventures, new chapters of life, and protects mothers through pregnancy and childbirth. So I don't know why, but I keep feeling very strongly that you are a person who might have been keen to grow up very fast as a child or as a teenager. Perhaps you always wanted to go on to the next rite of passage. You maybe started doing things earlier on than some of your peers. You might have started engaging in certain activities before some of your peers. You sort of wanted to grow up before your time. Maybe you had older friends at a certain point in your life and they introduced you to things that other people of your age weren't introduced to. And maybe this made you grow up quite fast, or for some reason you were accessing that more adult way of being from a younger age. Maybe a lot of responsibility was placed on you from a younger age and you didn't get to experience all the rites of passage in a typical way is what I'm getting. Or it could just be that you wanted to hit every milestone that other people around you were hitting and you wanted it to happen fast. You wanted to reach those milestones, go through those rites of passage at a certain speed. I definitely sense that you are somebody who has always had big dreams and big expectations for yourself, and somebody who has always wanted to reach new heights of being. And maybe you are somebody with a lot of fiery energy where you wanted all this to happen quite fast. You wanted things to spiral. You wanted to be all these things at once. Maybe thus far, some of these dreams haven't yet happened, and this is maybe something you are concerned about, and perhaps why you are seeking advice through tarot. Perhaps in some way you are worried that your life is sort of passing you by and it is spiraling out of control in the sense that you haven't reached these certain milestones, but you're really keen to. Maybe there are certain dreams that you wanted to achieve by the certain phase that you're at in your life now, and that hasn't been the case so far. So you have concerns about whether those dreams are going to manifest. But I just want to reassure you that you are very, very supported on this journey, on this transformation, this next rite of passage, this place that you are leaning into. this new way of being, you are very, very much supported on that journey. You are not only going to have external support, I feel friends, family, if you reach out, they are going to be there for you, a partner. You are going to have support in that way, but it is also going to come deeply from within. You are going to feel this sense of supporting yourself and feeling okay with that, feeling validated in the choices you've made. It might be that your dreams do turn out different to what you expected during this transformation, and the next big changes that might happen for you are you seeing that from a different perspective. And, maybe your life isn't what you thought it would be at this stage, but I'm getting the sense that what you are going to feel will be even better. You will realize that actually, when you reflect, you have hit a lot of these milestones, and that in turn will help you engage with this goddess energy. You will be stepping in to this power. I'm sensing somebody who is going through a lot of transformation in terms of a glow up. But what might be different to other piles is that I'm not sensing that this glow up is necessarily all physical. It could well be. It could be that, you are nurturing yourself from within and that is showing itself on the outside. But I think it is just about you addressing that you are in a deeply transformative state of your life. And although sometimes you might get a bit of anxiety about feeling like you are not where you want to be, I think you are getting this sense of internal validation that actually you are okay, you are supported, you are loved, you are right where you need to be. Every rite of passage is an important one. We all have to go through things, and that includes disappointments. It's it includes our expectations not always being met in the way that we think that they will be, but that doesn't mean that we have failed in any way. It's like this sense deep within that you are right where you need to be, and all the stages of our growth, the sort of maiden, mother, crone transformation, all of it is an important rite of passage. All of it is something that's very crucial to our growth and to changing things in our life. It could be that this newfound sense of self validation, of being able to support yourself, is helping you achieve your dreams in some way. It could be that this sets you off on a new trajectory to having some kind of new creative idea, to going down a different business route or something like that, or just engaging with a hobby that is more in line with you, like your soul on a deeper level. Just a little warning for discussing fertility issues or potential fertility issues. It could be that that is something you have dealt with or you are dealing with. It could be that you thought that you would go through a certain rite of passage by a particular age. And if you were somebody who, when you were growing up, you wanted to hit all these milestones, perhaps you said that you wanted to have children by like a certain age and that hasn't happened or something like that. A big change for you could be your mindset about the way you look at this, that the disappointment you have faced in terms of that issue has helped you become a stronger person. And although you might not be exactly where you want to be in terms of that, you are not giving up hope. This could be a change in the way you see things, your mindset. It could also be in regards to a breakthrough when it comes to fertility, if there have been certain health issues that have been a barrier in conceiving or something like that. It could be completing that rite of passage, like that stage is over with, and you are now at the stage where you can concentrate on conceiving or of cultivating or growing an idea of bringing something to fruition. It could be that you are currently pregnant and maybe you are struggling with this rite of passage, this current phase of your life. Maybe this pregnancy has been quite hard on your body, it's been difficult. Maybe you have faced some physical health issues, maybe you are struggling with the emotional aspect, and you are a little bit worried because this was everything you thought you wanted, but you're concerned that you're feeling this way, that you're having to experience this rite of passage. And maybe you're being a little bit harsh on yourself for not enjoying every moment of that experience. Which, if that is you, please don't ever feel bad for not enjoying every moment of an extremely difficult time, if that is what you are going through. Not every aspect of that journey is going to be easy, and if it's been a struggle for you, it does not say anything about your strength or who you are as a person. Things like pregnancy can be a massive spectrum in terms of people's symptoms and what they deal with. There's people who get like zero morning sickness, and people who have to be hospitalized due to the sickness that they experience due to the symptoms. Obviously, I know that there are so many more symptoms. It's not just morning sickness. I'm aware of that, but I'm just giving that as an example. It could be in relation to any symptom or any like emotional struggle that you are going through due to that. There is a massive spectrum of severity when it comes to bodies and them adjusting to massive changes like pregnancy. So please don't ever feel bad about needing more support. Like it could be that you are putting pressure on yourself if you know you have a family member and they've told you that like pregnancy was a breeze for them and the hard part is yet to come, like when you actually have the baby. And you know, if you're struggling now, that means that you won't be a good parent or something like that. Please don't ever believe that. Everyone's experience is different, and just because you might be struggling with the very physical aspect of carrying a child, if that is the case for you, that does not say anything about your ability to parent or be a mother. It could be that this is the hardest part that you will ever go through, like the actual physical pregnancy. And yes, while there are many hardships when it comes to bringing up children, it could be that the worst time for you was the pregnancy. I just felt called to say that in case that is something you're currently going through and you're feeling bad for like not being totally joyful and like full of glowing energy when you're going through that. It could be that you are needing more support and balance in terms of parenting or something like that, because you are struggling to balance everything. You are struggling with feeling like you should be happy at everything you have, like you're struggling with the sense that you should feel grateful. And you know, if this was like, if you did also have like fertility issues and you know, this was a very much wanted pregnancy, it could be that you are dealing with some quite polarizing feelings because you feel as though you should be grateful for this gift of like a child if that's something that you really wanted. So it's quite difficult to come to terms with the fact that you're not finding it easy or something like that. It doesn't have to be related to pregnancy at all. The only other thing I'm going to say in relation to that is it could be difficulty with finding love for your new body following a pregnancy or giving birth to a child or something like that. It could be difficulty accepting like the body that you have now and struggling with that rite of passage in some way. So I feel like something that is changing for you is that you are going to be getting out of that mentality. You are going to be shifting. It could just be that you have reached a certain age where you feel as though these rites of passage should have happened and some of them haven't, like maybe being in a committed relationship or reaching a certain career milestone or just taking some of your projects and trying to bring them into fruition. It could be that you are struggling with not achieving those dreams, not accessing those rites of passage. You feel as though you should have done it by now, or like maybe you're just currently struggling in whatever phase of life that you're in. You've maybe dealt with a little bit of spiraling, a little bit of anxiety regarding where you are and where you want to be regarding achieving those dreams. But I feel as though something that's going to be changing on a massive scale for you is that you are sort of monitoring your expectations and realizing that growth and progress doesn't have to be instantaneous. You don't have to go at these goals and dreams at 100 miles per hour. Sometimes you have to go through these rites of passage, and that takes time. But these rites of passage help make us stronger, they help with our growth and development. And also, you might be getting more support in terms of the people that you are able to open up to. You could be getting support from friends, from family, from a partner, from somebody at work, a colleague, or it could come from a community, like an online community. Let's just give the childbirth example. Like maybe you had a difficult childbirth experience, or maybe you dealt with something following childbirth, like postnatal depression, something that's not always talked about openly. Like, I know it is getting better in terms of people addressing those types of things, but it's still not talked about as much as it should be. And maybe you are bringing something like that out into the open, and you are getting a lot of support for talking about that. People are really congratulating you and praising you for bringing something like that to light. It doesn't have to be the pregnancy or like postnatal depression example. It could be anything, just something that other people maybe aren't talking about, and you are bringing it to the surface, and you are getting a lot of support for doing that. And it is really changing your life and a lot of other lives by you being able to transform this energy of being worried that you're not where you want to be into something creative and something that you are able to put out there, and a way you can advocate for yourself and for other people. I'm just getting the image of somebody writing something and putting it online, and it's something that, not a lot of people talk about. And it gets so many replies like, oh my gosh, I didn't think other people dealt with this. Like, nobody talks about this. Why does nobody talk about this rite of passage that essentially we all go through? Like, again, we're all going through like this human experience. It could be something like that where people are like, thank God that somebody is talking about this. I'm really grateful that there is somebody addressing this issue, bringing light on this rite of passage. It could even be something like, let's say, and again, like, I am sorry if this doesn't resonate and I keep using the pregnancy example. But again, it is just an example. It can refer to your situation, but it's just something that keeps springing to my mind. If it is the pregnancy example, it could be like you have dealt with postnatal depression following childbirth, and maybe like there is a long line of people in your family who have dealt with this issue, and maybe it's never been talked about. Like, maybe you assumed like when your parents had you that everything was fine, and maybe it's coming to light that no, actually, like, your mother also dealt with this. Maybe during her generation when she was growing up, people didn't really talk about it, people just dealt with it, that kind of thing. So maybe this is you kind of breaking generational trauma in that sense, like talking about those issues. Doesn't have to be with pregnancy, it could be with any issue or any generational issue within your family, something like that. It's acknowledging that these rites of passage serve a purpose and they can propel you forwards towards your dreams. Okay, pal three, I hope this is resonating so far. Let's have a look at the tarot cards that we pulled for you. Okay, we have the Four of Pentacles in reverse. We have the Seven of Swords. We have the Six of Cups. We have the Page of Swords. We have the Ten of Wands. We have the Eight of Cups. We have the Two of Pentacles. We have the Hermit. We have Temperance. And we have the Wheel of Fortune, pal three. Okay, so I'm just going to check that all the cards are in frame. So, pal three, with this Seven of Swords showing up, it feels like in some way in the not too distant past, you have felt as though you have been deceived, or like a truth has come to light, something has been revealed which has changed your perspective. It could be that in whatever situation you're in now, you thought that if you did this thing, you would feel one way. You were maybe led to believe that if you just achieved this one thing, you would feel this one particular way. And now that you are in that situation, it feels as though everything's different. And in a way, it feels as though like there's this sense that you've been lied to, or somebody's told you that you would feel this way when you were in this circumstance, and when you've got to that place you don't, and it just feels as though you've been tricked into this situation, and you thought, by reaching this particular milestone that would make you happy and that would kind of solve all your problems, and it hasn't done. And your realization of this has given you a new perspective. And I'm sorry that I keep using this as an example, but I'm just kind of elaborating on what we said on the oracle reading. So again, take it to mean however like it applies for you, but with an actual physical childbirth or a pregnancy or something like that, maybe you feel tricked in the sense that, you know, you were keen to reach that milestone of having a child. Maybe people in your family encouraged you to do that. They never expressed any difficulty with having children of their own, with being pregnant, or anything like that. And then it's like once you ended up in the same situation that they'd been in, but you were feeling differently, like if you had a difficult pregnancy, or if you had a difficult childbirth, or if you are struggling with being a parent or something like that, it could be that your kind of illusions were shattered in a way because you were like, well, I'm at this stage and I don't feel as happy as I could be. I don't feel fully myself. I feel like I've been tricked into this situation because I'm not finding this an easy experience like everybody else. And then I'm getting the sense that it's come to light that actually these other people did not have an easy experience. They maybe didn't have the experience that they were making out that they had. Maybe they actually had similar difficulties to you, and that is coming to light. This truth is being revealed about that situation, and you are left feeling like, well, wait, like, why did nobody warn me of this? I feel like lied to in a way. I feel as though there's been some kind of deception, something hidden from me, something that wasn't exposed to me. I didn't have all the clarity I needed in order to be able to make this decision. Like, it could be that you finally open up, like using the parenthood example. It could be that you open up saying, like, I actually think since I've had my baby, I'm quite down. I am really struggling with my mental health. And it could be that somebody in your family turns around to you and they're like, well, yeah, like your sister dealt with that too. Like, or yeah, I dealt with that when I had you, or something like that. And you're like, wait, why has nobody ever talked about this? It feels like there's been a deception, but I don't think it has necessarily been deliberate by, whichever family member or person that you're dealing with, like whichever person this applies to. I think it's like they haven't been able to express that due to their own emotional wounds. So it's not like it's been purposely hidden from you. It's like they weren't able to, it's like almost they didn't feel a need to talk about it because in their opinion it was just something that everybody went through, and they didn't realize that they weren't giving you all the information that you needed or something like that. And maybe like you are changing in a big way because you are breaking generational curses by actually shedding light on this issue and actually talking about it, actually acknowledging it. Maybe the people in your life prior to this have not been acknowledging this issue. They just see it as like a part of life, like a rite of passage. And yes, it is a part of life, but it's still very much something that deserves to be talked about. People deserve to have all the access to information that they can get. And I feel like, you are shedding light on this issue. With this Page of Swords, it feels as though you are becoming very communicative. Is that the right word? So, a big way that you are changing is that you might be getting more curious, more chatty. You might be expressing yourself more about these issues. You might be delving deep into the psychology behind like postnatal depression, or, what the body goes through during or after pregnancy in some way, something like that. Again, like just an example, but you could be really delving into those issues and finding out a lot about them and advocating for like yourself if you've gone through this, or for other people going through this, and letting them know that yes, it is normal. Yes, it is almost like a rite of passage for some people, but that doesn't mean that it should just be ignored. Like, we shouldn't just brush it under the carpet. That's what I'm getting. In whatever situation that's happened, it's like something has been brushed under the carpet, and you are transforming in a big way by bringing that issue to light. With the Ten of Wands, whatever situation you've been in as of recently, it feels as though there's been like this sense of obligation that you just have to get on with it. Like, you have to do maybe what the rest of your family or your circle, like whoever you're dealing with, you have to do what they're doing and just ignore the issue, just get on with it, just adhere to your duties, just not talk about it. And you are changing in the way that you are realizing that that is not the case. With this Eight of Cups, you are leaving behind that mentality, and that is going to be so powerful and transformative for you. And it is going to lead to a lot of big changes. It feels as though with this Six of Cups, maybe you at one point recently were romanticizing a different aspect of your life, a previous version of you, let's say. You had a lot of nostalgia for the person you used to be, or something like that. Let's say that you have become a parent. You could be romanticizing the time in your life that you weren't a parent. It's not that you are regretting the decision to be a parent, if that is the case. It is just that you are reflecting on previous versions of you, and you are looking back at memories and you're thinking, like, wow, like before I had all this free time, I could go anywhere I wanted, I could go out with my friends. Maybe you're seeing like pictures on social media of your friends getting together or like going out to nightclubs or something like that, and you're romanticizing that, even if it wasn't something that like you necessarily enjoyed when you actually did it. You could be thinking like, oh my gosh, I would love to just go to a nightclub again and to have a drink again. Like, I would love to have that free time. I would love to feel not exhausted, not obligated to do all those things, not burn out to this capacity. So there's this real sense of loss with the Six of Cups, and feeling as though, you will never have access to those things again, and looking at them through a lens of nostalgia and like times that have now passed that you won't get back. You could really be romanticizing your past, even if you think like the person I was in the past also isn't who I wanted to be. It's like, oh, I would kill to be that person now. I would kill to have all the free time that that person has, like all the freedom that that person has. It could be that you feel restricted in some way by this sense of duty to a particular thing. But with this Eight of Cups, I feel as though that is really, really shifting for you. You are accepting that you are going through a new stage in your life. You are approaching a different rite of passage. And although you can't acknowledge that there is some loss that comes with that, you are also becoming more happy, more content with the change that has taken place. You are going inwards with this hermit and really reflecting on how much things have changed for you and what that means. And you are getting more of a sense of balance with this Two of Pentacles. With this Four of Pentacles in reverse, I'm going to call you out a little bit, pile three. Have you been through a stage of reckless spending? Have you been through a stage of trying to fill the void with material items, with buying clothes? Or have you been trying to fill this sense of loss with material items? It reminds me of that meme that's like, my sense of purpose. Did you say purchase? Like, it's giving me like earth sign, Taurus, Capricorn, Virgo energy. Doesn't have to be, but that's just what sprang to mind. And I was just thinking of that meme. There could have been a stage in your past where you haven't been doing the work, you have not been reflecting from within, you have been just thinking, if I just buy this one more thing, that will fix my life. Maybe you've said like, oh, maybe if I just buy this like smoothie maker, this blender, and I just make smoothies all the time, maybe I'll feel re-energized then, and that will make me happier at where I am in my life, or something like that. You're thinking that these appliances will come in and fix your life, something like that. And don't get me wrong, like, I'm a Taurus moon. I love my material items. I cling on to my material items. And if something like a blender or like a smoothie maker is going to help your life and make it easier, I am all for you getting that purchase. I fully support that. I am not putting that down at all. But I think it can become an issue when you are spending recklessly, when you are trying to fill up all the empty space that you might be feeling emotionally with physical things from the material world, when really sometimes we need to go inwards and think about the things we need to heal emotionally instead of just relying on appliances. Things can help us, they can be of assistance, but they cannot necessarily heal us. That has to come from within. Just one example of this, like if you had been feeling bad about where you are in life, feeling like you can't cope with all the responsibilities of life, and maybe this truth hadn't come to light, so you didn't know that, potentially other people were struggling with this very same issue, you could have just thought that like you were the problem, and if you just get your life together by purchasing all those things to try and help you like manage your time or something like that, then you would be fine. So maybe like you buy a book on like how to become on how to manage your time better or something like that, when really you might need help with a completely separate issue. Like, you might be, for the example, if you are dealing with some kind of depression or like postnatal depression or something like that, it could be that instead of focusing on like how you can manage your time better, you need to be focusing on like healing those deeper issues within first before you try and jump on being everything to everyone all the time. But I feel as though something that is changing for you is there is going to be more of this sense of balance with the Two of Pentacles. The Two of Pentacles can refer to somebody trying to juggle things and maybe prioritizing one thing above another. But it could be that with you, something is falling more into balance. And it could be because of this truth that is revealed. Maybe you are unhappy with yourself because maybe you felt as though you aren't good enough in whatever rite of passage you're currently going through in your life. Like, maybe you thought, if I get to this role, I will be the best at this, I will be XYZ. Or like, if I am a mother, I'm always going to keep a clean home, like it's going to look spotless every day, everything's going to be perfect. And maybe you haven't been able to achieve that because you are still getting used to this new rite of passage, this new way of being that you are currently in. And progress takes time, and that is something you're realizing that you don't have to be absolutely perfect all of the time to still do a good job and to still grow and develop as a person. With this Eight of Cups, you are abandoning that idea that you need to be perfect. Maybe you can be a bit of an all or nothing person. Maybe you're somebody who's like, I'm either cleaning my entire house today from top to bottom or nothing is getting done, something like that. So maybe something big that's changing for you is that you are finding more of that sense of balance. You are saying to yourself, you know what, I don't have to do everything all at once, but if I can do one small thing for myself today, that's going to make me feel better. And I don't have to be perfect with it, but as long as I'm showing up for myself consistently, that is what matters. That is going to help me with my progress over time and get me to where I want to be. There might be a lot of self-reflection once this Seven of Swords, like once the truth comes to light, there could be a lot of deep reflection with this Hermit and you taking time to think about what that truth means and to reassess the way you go about things and the things that you might prioritize. Maybe your perspective and your priorities will completely shift. They will transform into something else because this truth has been dumped on you and it has changed so many things. But in particular, it could really change how you think of yourself, but in a very positive way. It could be that you were down on yourself a lot because you weren't perfect and you couldn't meet all these very high expectations and adhere to these certain standards that you'd set for yourself. But with this Hermit, you're really assessing that. And also with Temperance, it can be about like managing your expectations. And I would encourage anyone to dream big and to follow their dreams and go after what they want. But it's about understanding that you can't do that all in a rush. Like, it doesn't come all at once. Again, progress takes time. And I think if you really think about all the things you have gone through and all the rites of passage you've experienced and how you've dealt with that, I think you should be very, very proud of yourself at how you've grown. And although you might think, oh, I wanted to be at this point in my life by this stage, I think there's a lot of internal growth that has taken place within you that you are maybe not acknowledging, but something that is changing is that you are really thinking about how much you have grown and actually respecting yourself for that, rather than getting down on yourself about all the things you maybe haven't done that you are still yet to achieve. I think you are realizing that, again, growth does take time, progress takes time, and it's not going to happen overnight. If you are struggling with like depression or postnatal depression or something like that, it's not going to be like I flip a switch and I'm better overnight. It's about you understanding that and coming to terms with, you might not be able to show up full of joy every single day, but you can find a new joyful way of moving forward and enjoying the period of your life that you're currently in. I really feel as though you're going to be prioritizing your internal wellness because, again, like with the Four of Pentacles, if it's been the case that you have given birth or you've had a child, let's say that you are somebody who is now uncomfortable with the way your body looks, the way it's changed. It could be that you have been doing a lot of reckless spending on getting new clothes or something like that and trying to look like the old version of you. And I'm all for people purchasing clothes that make them feel good, that make them feel the best version of who they are. And if you know your old clothes no longer fit you or something like that and you have to buy something new, then I encourage that. Like obviously buy what you need, but I think sometimes you might have been approaching that from a place of thinking, well, this I look really good in this dress and it fits me really well, like it makes my new body look quite good or it hides these certain lumps and bumps or something like that, and therefore that's going to make me feel amazing and I'm going to be this new version of myself. Whereas now the change that is happening for you is that you are having this realization that you don't need anything external like that to make you feel good. You are actually, let's use that as an example. Like, if it is you are coming to terms with the way your body looks now versus how it used to look, you could have like romanticized that previous body with this Six of Cups. Maybe you look back at old photos of you and you were like, oh my gosh, I look so good then. But then when you think about it, you didn't even realize then how good you looked. You didn't even appreciate like the body you had then. Maybe you were looking back at these pictures like, wow, I was so hot, that dress looks so good on me. And you're like, why can't I look like that now? But when you think back to that time, that person who you were in that picture, they didn't feel comfortable in their body either. They didn't feel confident. So you are very much reaching this place where you realize that you have to change by stopping romanticizing these past versions of you. You are coming to terms and accepting the fact that you are now a different version of you. And with that comes a lot of growth and a lot of healing. And you are actually becoming very happy with that. I see with the Wheel of Fortune that your look is changing for the better. It's understanding that there's going to be ebbs and flows when it comes to emotions and, when it comes to our self-confidence and things like that. We're always going to have moments where we might feel down on ourselves, but you are changing in a massive way in that you are respecting that life does have ebbs and flows. There are these certain rites of passage that we go through, and sometimes we might be in an energy of being more down on ourselves, and it's about acknowledging those feelings and respecting that, those feelings come up for a reason and they're there to tell us something, but it's not the whole picture and it's not how we're going to feel forever. And we will eventually come out of that. The look will turn for the better. And when your look does turn for the better, it's like you will have this new sense of clarity and of awareness of everything that you have to offer and everything that you bring to the table. And you will be really happy with the person you are becoming and all the challenges that you have been through that have made you who you are. It's made you love yourself more, and it's made you experience this internal glow up that radiates from the inside, because people can see that you have really developed in terms of bringing up your self-worth to a level where now it's not necessarily like how you look from an external perspective. It's about all the emotional work you've done, about the fact that you have broken these like generational traumas and things like that, the fact that you have had the emotional intelligence to communicate regarding these issues, to voice your opinion. All those things have developed your confidence. So you are very well aware that nothing external is going to come in and fix your life. You are very aware that it is all coming from within. And that thought is helping you change, it's helping you transform, it's helping you shift your mindset and helping you make huge changes within your life. The way you see yourself, the way that you can now realize that, other people struggle with these things as well. Like, it's not just you. You shouldn't be down on yourself about your struggles and things like that. It's about really respecting this current rite of passage, this current era of your life that you're going through, and realizing that it's not all sunshine and flowers all the time, but with a lot of this internal observation comes a lot of growth and a lot of opportunity for healing and for transformation. I think if you are somebody who has been down on yourself or you are lacking in confidence in this situation that you're in, I think this truth will shatter the illusion surrounding that, and you will very much be transforming into a person who is a lot more self assured and self confident. I'm getting the phrase like, you used to feel like a failure and now you know that there is like a reason that you are the way you are. And with that comes a lot of love and a lot of support for yourself from yourself. but also support from other people, because these sort of networks that you create, these people who you might reach out to regarding this, they also start to reassure you that yes, like they have been through that mentality too. They have been in that mindset. They've been through it. They know how you feel, and they can offer that support and validation that what you're going through is very real, but it's not the whole picture. It's not how you're going to feel forever. I feel as though your mentality really will be transforming and your look will be changing in terms of how you feel about yourself and just about where you're at in life. I feel like it's going to be a complete mindset shift. And when it happens, you are going to get so much clarity and so much positive change. Okay, that is it for the tarot portion of your reading, pile 3. Let's have a look at the Sacred Self-Care Oracle just for a little bit of closing advice. Please bear with me. Oh. Okay, pile 3, we got number 9, clean your space. So I feel as though this can refer to your physical space, but it can also refer to your like mental and emotional space. So with this closing advice, I would maybe suggest that if this is in relation to physical space, it is not telling you that you have to clean your house from top to bottom and you have to keep on top of that every single day and you can never have a day off. That is not what it's telling you. It's not advising you to be all or nothing. It could be in relation to doing some decluttering if you have had issues with sort of reckless spending and buying products that you don't need. This could be a declutter in terms of removing things from your wardrobe. Oh, do you know what image I'm getting in my head just now? Like, I'm getting somebody who is holding on to past versions of themselves via physical items. So, like clothes or something that are in a particular size that you are holding on to, you're hoarding because you're thinking, I have this expectation that I'm going to be this size again and I will be unhappy with myself if I don't do that. So you are keeping these clothes, and over the years they've just sort of collected dust in the back of your wardrobe. You've not had a chance to wear them, they don't fit. Maybe you've tried to wear these clothes and they're too small or they're too big, they don't fit anymore, and you're forcing yourself to fit into them, and it's not making you feel confident. It's just making you feel down every time you try and fit in these clothes, and it's not working out the way that you want it to. It could be that you are finally decluttering and releasing these items that are no longer serving you, and instead you are prioritizing items that make you feel good, and you're wearing clothes that fit you, that look beautiful, that make you feel confident. You're reorganizing your wardrobes, your space, you're just decluttering, you're getting rid of things that no longer are serving you, and you're forefronting the things that make you feel good. Just to use the clothes thing as an example, you're realizing that your ability to fit into a certain size of clothes does not determine your worth. The dress isn't making you confident. The person in the dress, what comes from within them, that is where the confidence shines through. That is where the glow up takes place. It all comes from this internal source, which is you. So it's realizing that you very much have that power in you to transform your mindset, to feel more confident about the stage of your life that you're at now. Even if you say to yourself, like, this is not where I want to be forever. And even if you say, like, I want to achieve this goal, that is absolutely fine, but there is no point hating the person who you are now. They are teaching you a lot, they are teaching you growth. There's no point being overly critical of that person. And I think something that's changing for you is that you are showing yourself a lot more love. And with the 8 of Cups, you are abandoning this idea that you have to be XYZ to be worthy of loving yourself, to be worthy of, being a confident person, somebody who can show themselves to the world. It could be that you are cleaning your space in terms of this energy, in terms of trying to lessen the negative self talk, trying to be less critical of yourself, trying to approach yourself with compassion from a lens of, well, I'm dealing with this because of XYZ, and not necessarily using that as an excuse, but using that as a tool for transformation and a tool for reframing, in the sense that you can say, like, I'm not this way because I'm bad at what I'm doing or because I'm a failure. It's because I didn't have the tools to help me with this journey. Something like that. It's about reframing your thought process, reframing your ideas, maybe practicing some form of therapy, some form of CBT or something like that. Okay, pal three, that is it for your reading. I really hope this resonated with you. If it did resonate in any small way, please like the video, please leave me a comment, and if possible, please subscribe. All of that would mean the absolute world to me and it would really help me and this channel. Thank you so much, pal three. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Hi, pile four. Welcome to your reading. We are going to start the reading by looking at your oracle card. We will just be looking at one oracle card to check the overall energy and for you to see whether this is your pile. And then we are going to be moving on to the tarot portion of the reading. If you would like a little bit more information on what this reading will entail, please check out my intro and have a look at that, and I'll explain what we'll be doing, how we'll be proceeding in this reading. But without further hesitation, let's get into it. So if you chose this deep purple slash blue, depends how it looks to you on camera, crystal tower, this will be your reading. So let's have a look at the oracle card that you got. Okay, pal four, you got shadow mirror, deep healing, understanding, seer. Okay, I didn't do this with every pile, but I did do it with pile 3. I actually read from the Earth Alchemy Oracle Guidebook just a little section regarding the Shadow Mirror card. I think that will be really beneficial for you, and this paragraph in particular, this little section just really speaks to me, and I just really wanted to read it. So, obsidian. Obsidian dances in the darkness, making friends with the shadows. It asks you to dance with it, to befriend the darkness, noticing its depth and peace. There is no darkness without light, and you are a dance of both. You are not good, you are not bad, you simply are, and for all you are loved beyond belief. I think that is just an absolutely beautiful sentiment, and I just wanted to share that with you, Pal 4. And I feel as though it's very much something you need to hear. I think whatever you have gone through in your past or even recently, I think you are going through a massive change in the way that you are finding ways to forgive yourself for everything that you are and everything that you could not be. Maybe you are somebody who in the past you have shied away from really taking a good look at those darker parts of yourself, your shadow aspects, and maybe you are getting to a stage where you really are acknowledging those shadow parts, and you are doing the work, you are trying your best to heal, but that is coming with a lot of difficult feelings. You are really working on forgiving yourself for things in the past. Maybe you feel as though, due to these shadow parts of yourself that haven't been acknowledged in whatever way, you feel as though to some degree you have sabotaged good opportunities or certain positive things that have come into your life because you haven't been able to heal those parts of yourself that you haven't really had access to. You might be somebody who sort of intellectualizes your emotions a lot of the time. So maybe coming to terms with why you have acted in certain ways, why you have done some of the things that you do, why you have sabotaged opportunities, why you have treated yourself a certain way, why you have treated other people a certain way. Maybe coming to terms with that and really accessing that truth has been difficult for you. Maybe at times in the past it has felt too painful for you to access those truths, and therefore you have shied away from it. You haven't really wanted to acknowledge it. But I get the sense whatever the changes that you are making now are transforming you in the way that now you are really willing to do the work, and you are willing to hold a mirror up to yourself and look at those shadow aspects and look at them from a lens of objectivity. You are not doing this to put yourself down, to say, I am a bad person, I did this wrong, I did X, Y, and Z, why can't I just do this? You are healing in the way that You are just looking at these things objectively, and you are locating the source of this pain, the source of this shadow way of being, this darker way of being. You are coming to terms with that. You are getting clarity on why, on the reasons you might have acted in certain ways. Maybe you have been a person who has sabotaged certain opportunities, let's say, and your brain has like tried to intellectualize this. Your logical side has tried to come through, and your ego is shining through, and it's saying, like, well, I've not taken this opportunity because I didn't actually want it. But deep down, it could be because there are a lot of shadow aspects that you need to work through and that you are starting to work through. Like, that is a big change that I see you are making. You are really trying to transform in that way, but it isn't coming easily. And shadow work never comes easily. Like, it's not fun, it's not something that we necessarily enjoy, but it is crucial to our growth. It is crucial to stop this self sabotaging. It can be very painful, it can be very hurtful to look at ourselves like that and to think, well, I had a good thing here and I completely sabotaged it due to my own behavior. Actually, it was my own self worth issues, it was my own shadow side. It was my lack of trust in myself, my lack of trust in other people, my inability to see that stopped me accessing this opportunity. That can be painful. It can feel like a huge loss. It can feel as though we have wasted time. We haven't taken the chance to do certain things. And it's not what we actually wanted. It's because something was holding us back. It's because we hadn't looked at a darker, deeper part of ourselves. It can be very painful to acknowledge that, but I feel as though you are doing the work and you are changing your mentality and who you are as a person by developing yourself that way and by going through that growth, by acknowledging all those things that you have kind of been ignoring. It could be that in the past you have dealt with a sort of self victimization mentality, in terms of like you have wondered why you have ended up in a certain situation. But if you actually reflect on why that has happened, it is a situation that you have cultivated through your behaviors, through your actions, or through your lack of action. So, the way you are changing in the upcoming future is you are actually being truthful with yourself about the things that you need to work on, the ways that you can step forward in your life and show courage by showing up as a main character in your own life, by not letting chances pass you by due to fear, by not allowing people to treat you a certain way if you know that it is not doing you any good, if it is not benefiting you. This could be in terms of like the relationships in your life, either a romantic partnership, a friendship of some kind. It could be that people in the past have treated you in a certain way and you've intellectualized it to yourself of why you should give those people another chance, or you should let them off the hook. It could be that you didn't hold these people accountable for their behavior in whatever way. You thought that if you just offered your love and compassion, that the issue would go away and that the issues would resolve themselves, that they would suddenly start treating you better, but they didn't. And maybe this is you coming to the terms with the fact that, I could have handled that differently, but you're not beating yourself up about it. I feel like you have really done the work, or you are doing the work, and you are seeing it from a lens of like, well, this is how I'm going to move forward in my next relationship, in my next friendship, in my next job, whatever it is. There's this sense of you objectively looking at this and deciding that you are going to make better choices for yourself, but it's not coming from a place of self hatred or hating that shadow side of you. It's coming from a real, genuine need for self development and for transformation. With Sia, it makes me feel as though you could be a very empathetic person, and this could sometimes lead to you making excuses for other people and their behavior. So, a shadow part of you could be that, you don't necessarily hold people accountable in the ways that you should do. Like, I feel as though if it was you would hold yourself to like a high standard. It could be that if somebody has treated you badly in some way, it could be because you have this deep sense of compassion and empathy, and because you feel as though you understand people and where they're coming from and why they are the way they are. It could be that you sort of rationalize it by saying, well, their parents did this to them when they were growing up and XYZ. they had a difficult childhood, they had difficulties in life that has made them the way that they are. And, I can understand that. Like, I have also had difficulties, but the difference is, that your difficulties aren't an excuse, and it's not using what has happened to you as an excuse in any way. If you have been through a trauma or anything like that, it's about objectively looking at it and understanding it. And that can be really difficult because, especially like if your body, when you think about these issues, when you talk about them, your body is experiencing like fight or flight mode, that can be incredibly challenging. And I would encourage you to do it in a way that feels safe to you, with a therapist of some kind, with a licensed clinician. Don't seek advice from people who are going to give you incorrect advice, essentially. If you can, please seek reputable advice from a reputable source. But I think you are somebody who understands that having bad things happen to you isn't an excuse for negative behavior. And this could be a way you're changing in terms of like how you look at yourself and your own life, and you learning not to self sabotage based on this perception that you can't attain good things because bad things have happened to you in the past or something like that. But it could also be holding other people accountable for the ways that they treat you, because having a difficult life is a reason for people to behave in a certain way, but it's never an excuse, and it's certainly not an excuse to treat you or to treat anybody else like rubbish, essentially. You don't need to put up with that, and I think something that is changing is you realizing that. So it could be very much centered around other people and the ways they treat you, and understanding that that shadow side of humanity, it serves a purpose, but it doesn't excuse bad behavior. But this could also be in the sense of you holding yourself accountable, learning to commit to things more, to have courage to go after what you want and stick up for yourself and advocate for yourself, because nobody else is going to do that for you. And it's about maybe you learning to become more self-reliant in those ways, and learning to lean into that shadow side and use it as a power. Understanding that your shadow side has served a purpose, but there needs to be balance. Nobody can be all good or all bad, but regardless of what you are currently experiencing, you always deserve love, you always deserve forgiveness, you always deserve confidence, you always deserve to trust yourself and to grow. It is never too late for you to go on this journey of healing if you are feeling that way. It is never too late for you to change things. Perhaps you have acted in ways that you don't necessarily approve of now. Perhaps you think that you've already ruined things, you've already sabotaged, things can't become good again, but they really, really can. There is always opportunity for growth and change. And I think this is something that you are working on and you are realizing. This could be in terms of like a partnership, and for some reason, I'm thinking of like attachment styles. So with Shadow Mirror, it's making me think about how like everybody we encounter holds up a mirror, and they sometimes make us confront ourselves, they make us see ourselves with their behavior. So it could be that you've had an experience with somebody that has held a mirror up to who you are. And when I say I'm thinking of attachment styles, I'm thinking of like if you have like an avoidant attachment or something like that, and the person you are with maybe has like an anxious attachment. It could be that there's been a bit of a conflict in the way that the two of you communicate. I mean, this could even be with like a friendship or a family member or anything. There could have been like a bit of a conflict, and maybe you've held a lot of resentment for this person because you are not operating the way they do. And of course, like if they are anxiously attached, maybe they need to do some of their own healing. But it could be that you are putting all the blame like on that person. You are like, well, they are too clingy, they are too needy, they're not giving me my space, I just want to end this, I just want to run away because, I'm just not happy in this anymore. But that is you ignoring the part of yourself that needs healing. And yes, I'm not saying that other person was in the right if they were behaving in a way towards you that made you feel uncomfortable. It's not that they were in the right, but it's also not that you're totally in the right either. I don't think anybody's in the wrong. I think it's just that you both have aspects that needed healing, something like that. So instead of you saying to people, like, oh, this person was just really clingy and, it scared me away, this would be you healing yourself by acknowledging the part that you had to play in terms of like your avoidant behavior. Like, were you scared of deeper emotional intimacy? Were you scared of committing to somebody? Were you scared of opening up, of being vulnerable, of something like that? Did that contribute to the breakdown of this relationship or some of the conflict that came up? And if so, it's not about blaming yourself or saying who was in the right or who was in the wrong. It's just about trying to understand where that comes from, why you have so much fear. Did you really end that relationship because of purely that other person, or was it something internally within you that you needed to see more clearly, you needed more clarity on in order to try and help yourself grow? So it's about you really doing that work and seeing things for what they are, not in the sense that you need to place blame on yourself or you need to make yourself suffer for things you have done or not done, but just in the sense that you need to be aware of these things so that you can change the way you move in life going forward. That's what I'm getting. Okay, pal four, that is what we've got for your oracle card for your energy check. We are just going to have a look at the tarot that we got for you. So please bear with me while we have a look at that. Okay, pal four, we have Strength reversed. We have the Ten of Swords. We have the Lovers reversed. We have Three of Wands reversed. We have Judgment upright. We have the Knight of Pentacles. We have the Four of Wands. We have the Eight of Wands. We have the Chariot. And we have the King of Wands. Let me just check that the cards are in frame for you, pal four. Okay, pal four. So with this strength in reverse, I am sensing that a big change for you will be stepping out of this energy of feeling weak and feeling out of control with your own life due to this mode that you might have been in of victimization or of feeling like trapped and restricted. With this Three of Wands in reverse, this indicates that you might have felt restricted by your own choices in some ways. So, a big change for you will be coming out of this strength reversed energy, but it could be that in the recent past, you felt as though you lacked the strength to do anything about your life. You lack the strength to show up for yourself, to be a real main character or a leader in your life. Maybe you felt as though you didn't have the courage to go after certain opportunities, and this exploration of your emotions and of that shadow side of you is helping you gain clarity on the ways that you have been holding yourself back. Maybe you have been holding yourself back from something due to other people's opinions. Maybe you have been worried about putting yourself out there in some way, of putting a creative project out there, or of going for a job, or of just being vulnerable in some way because you are worried about what other people will say and you are worried that it will be a knock to your confidence. But maybe you haven't really admitted that to yourself. Maybe you have sort of said to yourself, well, I'm just not a person who is comfortable putting myself out there like that. And you have not really been acknowledging that shadow side or the ways that you are stuck in a kind of prison of your own making in many ways. And that is something that you are going to be changing going forward. Something extremely transformative for you will be coming out of that strength in reverse. With this Ten of Swords, there is this real sense that maybe because you have recently been doing this work or you are still in the process of doing that work, you are trying to look into that shadow side of yourself. Maybe there is this element of a lot of self blame, you feeling like a failure of some kind, you feeling a lot of bitterness because you feel as though you have ruined something. And I just want to tell you that you have not ruined anything. This is not sort of where your story ends, this Ten of Swords moment. moment, there is a lot of change and a lot of transformation to come, and that is a very beautiful thing. You do not have to stay stuck in this energy forever if you are still in that energy. Acknowledging the part you have to play in a situation that is less than desirable is important, but again, it is important to look at it from the lens of objectivity and what would I like to do differently going forward rather than ruminating on things that are in the past and that you now cannot change. If you did something in the past that you are not proud of within a relationship or a connection of some kind, or just something in terms of the way you allowed yourself to be treated, there is this feeling as though you're sitting back and thinking, well, I've ruined everything. I'm not going to get sort of good things, good opportunities happening for me because, I ruined this opportunity. But you didn't. Your growth is continuing and good things will happen for you and to you. This isn't the end of your story. It's not even the end of your chapter. You could be somebody who has gone through your Saturn return very recently. If you have, I feel for you because I know that that is rough. And I just feel as though you have really been through it. You've been doing this work, you've been acknowledging the shadow self, and it has come with so much pain. But on the flip side of that, it is going to come with so much improvement, so much growth to your life, so many more new opportunities that maybe you aren't seeing yet, but that you will see. The Lovers in reverse. So, with this card, this speaks to often a romantic relationship, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. It could also be symbolic of like the relationship you have with yourself, like the polarity between your shadow side and like your lightness, and how those two things were maybe out of balance. They weren't working. There was something that was sort of out of sorts within you that needed healing. But once you are able to go through that kind of transformation and acknowledge those aspects, they can really work together to make you this incredibly powerful person. So it could be just talking about the duality between those two sides of you. However, it could refer to a romantic relationship. It could refer to sabotage in the sense of either you sabotaging a romantic relationship or you allowing yourself to be treated badly in a romantic relationship or a connection, and therefore sabotaging yourself in that way and feeling restricted, feeling as though you are the victim, and not acknowledging that maybe this is a choice that you have made for yourself and a situation that you have put yourself in. With this Lovers in reverse, if it is in relation to like a connection or a romantic relationship, it's making me think of, two people who aren't in balance with one another, who are disconnected. And it also makes me think of, what we were saying in the oracle reading with attachment styles. It makes me think of an avoidant attachment and feeling detached from a partner, not being able to be emotionally vulnerable with somebody, not being able to open up. And like maybe that was you at one point or another. It doesn't have to be. Like you could be somebody who is the anxiously attached person on the other hand, and that is still problematic. But either way, like it's something you're now working on, but at this point in your life, maybe you sort of had a lot of blame for the other person and how they showed up in the relationship. Maybe you were quite resentful, or maybe even if you dealt with somebody securely attached, maybe you thought maybe secure attachment was alien to you for whatever reason, and you thought that somebody expressing their love in a healthy way was like being too much or being too clingy. Maybe you really struggled with like commitment, and maybe you convince yourself that you don't want to commit to anyone because you just want your freedom and you want to explore more out of life. You don't want to settle down yet, something like that. But maybe you are now discovering that your need to push away the good things in your life come from this sense of unworthiness or something like that, or like you lack trust in yourself. You don't feel as though you're worth committing to, so you push people away. You don't get in a relationship and you convince yourself that it's because you just want your freedom, you just want your fun, but deep down you are longing for that deeper emotional connection with somebody. But it's like when somebody gets too close, you sabotage it, you push it away. It's about having this realization that that is maybe a pattern, a way of behaving that you have adhered to in the past, and that actually it is damaging you, and you are realizing that by doing the same thing, by repeating the same behaviors, the same patterns over and over, you are not getting anywhere. You don't feel as though you're growing. So something that is changing for you is that you again have actually done the work, or you are doing the work. You are trying to get out of that mentality. You are acknowledging those parts of yourself that haven't previously been acknowledged. You are thinking about the ways that perhaps you have sabotaged things in previous relationships or friendships, even any kind of connection. And you are going forward with that information. There is a new light being shone on that bit of information, and you are going forward and you are transmuting all the pain that comes with that into being a better version of yourself, for showing up for yourself and other people in a more powerful way, in a way that is more aligned with you at a soul level. I feel like maybe sometimes in the past you have operated from a place of ego, or like maybe in a relationship you've pushed people away because you don't trust them, because you don't trust yourself. That is something that I'm getting. Maybe, the behavior that was modeled for you growing up involved some kind of like trust issues, some infidelity, like some cheating, some lying, something like that. And maybe you thought that that hadn't affected you, but as you grew up, you entered these relationships and you kind of wondered like why you push people away. And again, you intellectualized it by saying, well, like I'm young and I just want some fun, and this person was being too clingy. But really, that person might have just been showing you the first healthy relationship that you've ever experienced. But because of what you've experienced, because of what has been modeled for you, it felt alien to you. It felt very uncomfortable. It felt like too much. It felt overwhelming, and you pushed that away. You didn't want anything to do with it. And now there might be this sense of like you feeling regretful that you have essentially abandoned something that could have been a good thing. You are worried that maybe you won't get that emotional connection with somebody back. It could be that you are acknowledging these deeply rooted beliefs that hadn't previously come to the surface. So let's just say if you had, like, if your parents' relationship did have some like infidelity or like some lying, and that makes you not trust yourself and not trust other people. It could be that you didn't really know why that was the case, but now you are uncovering this truth, and it feels painful, but it also comes with a lot of growth and a lot of big change within you, a lot of transformation. It allows you to see why you have acted in the past the way that you have, why you have felt connections are too intense when maybe they are just healthy, why you have maybe attracted partners that are avoidant if you are the anxious attacher, or if you are the avoidant attacher, why you have attracted like anxious partners or something like that, why you have maybe been in like toxic relationships, and the role that potentially you have had to play in that in terms of accepting certain behaviors. It could be that you are uncovering the truth about why you approach life the way you do and what that means, where that stems from. And that truth is giving you a lot of clarity, and it's providing you with the ability to really push forward in a more positive way, to create bigger changes, to because you have a deeper understanding of why you are the way you are and how you can change that. Like, just thinking about this victimization mentality again, and this Three of Wands, it's like in the past you have felt restricted, but sometimes the circumstance has been brought on and cultivated by you. And I know with some things in life we are out of control and we don't, necessarily have total control over the things that happen to us. And I'm not suggesting that for any minute. I am just saying that the things that you can control, perhaps at certain points you have been in this mentality of feeling as though you can't control them. You can't control what happens to you. You can't sort of be a leader in your own life in that sense. And with this Ten of Swords, it's like you might have sort of said, like, why do these bad things keep happening to me? Like, why do I keep attracting partners who are avoidant? Why do I keep attracting partners who don't want to develop that emotional intimacy with me, who ghost me after a few weeks or something like that? Or on the other hand, it could be like, why do I keep attracting partners who are anxiously attached, who demand too much of my time? And it's about acknowledging that maybe other secure connections, opportunities have been offered to you, but perhaps you have declined these because there was some deeper healing that needed to take place within you before you were able to maintain those secure connections with people. Maybe there was a reason you were drawn to avoidant or anxiously attached partners, and that is something you are starting to realize. And instead of blaming yourself for it, it just provides you with a deeper level of understanding and clarity. And you are no longer seeing it as a restriction because you understand yourself better. You now know the ways that you can move forward and change that, create those huge changes in the way that you approach potential connections going forward. I feel like you are doing so much work on yourself with this judgment that can speak of like awakening of a new sense of self renewal, like of deeper purpose. And I feel like this is something that you are really going through. You are really awakening to that shadow side of yourself, the ways that has been holding you back, the ways that you have engaged with self-sabotaging behaviors. You are genuinely reflecting for maybe the first time ever, and this is coming with a lot of new clarity and ways that you can really change going forward. It doesn't even have to be in relation to like a romantic partnership. It could be something as simple as like you self sabotaging when it comes to like adhering to a healthy lifestyle of some kind. Something like that. It could be that something needs healing deeper within you because of past behaviors, past learned behaviors, and a belief about the world and about humanity that you have operated under. And now you are realizing that that deeper belief is not based in truth. It's based on something that you have learned maybe during early childhood, but that you can change of at any time and you can be in the driver's seat of your life and you can change these patterns of behavior that aren't serving you. It's about realizing that and getting this new sense of purpose. And with this Knight of Pentacles, I feel like one massive way you are changing is that you are really committed to your own growth. You are no longer going to be in this victim mentality. You are no longer going to be feeling restricted and putting those self imposed restrictions on yourself. You're going to be committed to doing the work, and that is going to create some big changes and some momentum in your life. You're going to feel as though you're actually getting somewhere. Like maybe you have been in a pattern of behavior before where you have felt as though, like, nothing ever changes for me. Like the same thing keeps happening. But you are having this realization, like with the Judgment card, that this same thing keeps happening because you are allowing it to happen. You are stuck in that stagnant energy, but that is not going to be the case any longer. You start off in this slow and steady progression towards your better self. Maybe it starts off as this one little slow thing that you've learned, and although it takes you time to put that into practice, once you are on the path to putting that thing into practice and to bettering yourself, with this Eight of Wands and Chariot energy, it's like the progress only becomes faster and faster. The more you learn, the more you grow, the more you are able to implement these changes into your life, the way you operate, the way you see the world and other people. The easier that energy comes to you, the faster it comes. And it's like once you start operating from this Knight of Pentacles energy, you see growth in tremendous ways. It's like the opportunities are bombarding you from all angles. They are literally coming out of nowhere. They are coming in so fast because you have done that work and you have stayed committed to that goal of working on yourself. And that's going to create so many new and exciting opportunities. Like you are maybe going to feel excited for the first time in a long time because you can reflect on how these changes you have made and your mentality has helped with this growth and how it has attracted opportunities to you. You are realizing you've not ruined anything. Something that's happened in the past is now gone, but you are excited for what the future has to offer. You're very excited going forward about what's to come, and you should be because there is a lot of change happening within a short space of time once you get the ball rolling and you are doing this healing, which you might be in the midst of already. But once you are in this committed Knight of Pentacles energy and you are devoting that time to yourself to grow and to change, things are going to come in very fast and opportunities are going to come your way very rapidly. With this Four of Wands, I'm getting that in the upcoming future, something that might change for you is that there is more cause to celebrate. The Four of Wands can often talk of like gatherings of community, of celebration. So it could be that you are connected with your community, whether that be like family or colleagues or friends or a partner. In some way, you are just connected more with the external world, and there is more things to be happy about, more things to be joyful about, a lot more things to celebrate. It could be that, once you have healed these aspects of yourself, maybe you get into a relationship with somebody new, and potentially it's the first securely attached or healthy relationship that you've ever been in. And I'm just getting this image of somebody like you take this person to a family party and everyone sees how happy you are. Maybe you're celebrating something, you're having a few drinks, you're all getting to know each other, your family are getting to know this new partner, and maybe you're a little bit drunk and you go and sit on the toilet and you start crying because you're so happy, you're so joyful at the way your life is turning out, and you are also so proud of yourself at the work you've done. I'm not saying that the situation has to play out exactly like that. Like, if you don't drink or you don't go to parties or you don't sit on toilets, then that's fine. You don't have to. But I'm just getting this image of somebody like really reflecting when they're like drunk on the toilet, like, I don't know, just having a wee, and they're just thinking about their life and they're like, oh my gosh, like, I am so happy with this new person that I am, with who I'm becoming. I'm so content with the person who I am developing into. I have done the work to achieve this and I'm proud of myself. And I'm also very happy for giving this healthy relationship a chance when maybe I previously couldn't. Something like that, maybe not in those exact words, but that is the kind of energy that I'm getting with that Four of Wands. And also, this King of Wands is just such an intensely beautiful energy for you, because the King of Wands is somebody who is that leader, is somebody who takes control of their own life, who has a bigger picture way of thinking, who is capable of making decisions and, committing to them, and for just going ahead rather than feeling as though they are the victim in their life, or as though they don't have any control. The King of Wands is somebody who can show up for themselves and, take control, operate in a way that takes responsibility, that is accountable. So maybe this is you with this bigger picture thinking. Maybe this is you delving into the depth of the shadow side of yourself. And so, like, one example that I'm getting with this, to take you back to like the to take you back to what we were talking about when we were speaking about like childhood wounds or something like that. It could be that one of your childhood wounds is feeling as though like you don't have anybody to rely on, you don't have any support. Maybe in your childhood promises were made to you and those promises weren't kept. Maybe you felt as though you couldn't rely on people or something like that. And it could be that like in your relationship as an adult, maybe you get in a conflict with your partner over something that feels quite minor. So, for example, like you could have told your partner, oh, like, can you take the bins out today? And then when you get home from work, they haven't taken the bins out, and it gets in and it becomes this massive conflict over something relatively minor. And maybe like your smaller picture thinking is saying, well, I'm angry because they didn't take the bins out. I told them to take the bins out and they didn't do it, and it's bin day, so now we've missed bin day and I'm angry about that. When really bigger picture thinking might realize and take into consideration that the way you reacted could have been an overreaction to something relatively minor, but at the same time, that overreaction came from a place of maybe taking you back to a childhood wound of feeling like, well, I can't rely on anybody. People are always going to break promises. People aren't going to show up for me in the way that I need them to. I can only rely on myself. I don't have anyone else for support. It takes you back to these deeper wounds, like without you necessarily realizing, but you are realizing, like that's the point, because you've done the work or you're doing the work currently and you are having this bigger picture thinking about it all. And this is maybe something that you are able to explain to a partner. Again, like it's not an excuse. You can't just get in conflicts with people and lash out and expect the other person to just put up with that. But I don't think this is about that. I think it's about you. If you do experience a conflict and you maybe say something you shouldn't and you feel bad for potentially like overreacting, you could then sit your partner down and explain why you feel that way, why that has happened. You have more clarity. You don't just push them away or like avoid them or engage in toxic behaviors. You really think about why you have acted that way and you explain that to any potential partners. So it's really about having that healthy outlet and about feeling safe to be emotionally vulnerable to discuss those things, and just you having a deeper understanding, a deeper way of seeing things for what they are and why you maybe acted that way. It's about providing clarity in that sense and you being able to go forward with that information. Again, not using it as an excuse, but it's just a reason of why you are the way you are, but also acknowledging that that can be changed. This newfound sense of you being able to take positive action in your own life and be in that driver's seat is something that's really going to contribute to your growth and create really big positive changes, new work opportunities, new chances for connection with people. That is something that is very much coming to you. So don't feel as though this work is all for nothing. Yes, it can feel very painful when you are going through it, but this is not the end of your story. It's just the beginning. Okay, powerful, that is what I am getting for you. We are just going to finish this reading with some advice from the Sacred Self-Care Oracle, so please bear with me. You got two cards, but we obviously got two cards for a reason, so I'm not going to put one of them away. We got number 27, Hydrate, and we got number 23, Family. So with this hydrate card, obviously, I mean, it is important to physically hydrate, to drink water, to check in on your physical needs. But I feel as though it might refer to like an outpouring of emotion in some way. So maybe this transformation that you are going through, this growth, this leveling up, this looking into your shadow side, maybe that is bringing with it a lot of emotions, and maybe it's very important for you to feel as though you can release those emotions in a safe and healthy way. It's you acknowledging that it's okay for those emotions to come out. You don't have to hide the way you are feeling, especially if you've struggled with developing emotional intimacy with people and things like that. It's realizing that you can express your emotions, you are safe to do so. Even if you know you have to express negative emotions and really acknowledge that shadow side of yourself, all the emotions that you feel in relation to that are more than okay. It is fine to express them. You do not have to hide the negative aspects of yourself. Like we said, when I read that little paragraph from the guidebook, the good parts of you and the bad parts of you are all important. They are all loved. Your lighter side is loved. Your shadow side is loved. All of you is loved. All of you is deserving of love. The shadow sides of you deserve to be heard. That is what I'm hearing. I think you need to go inwards and really address those shadow sides. They deserve to be loved by you. The shadow sides are trying to tell you something. They're trying to get you to listen to them, and maybe that isn't something you've acknowledged in the past. Maybe you've tried to ignore those sides of yourself, or you've tried to play them down or play them off as something else, like intellectualizing your emotions. You've tried to say, this is why I'm this way, but you haven't really thought in too much depth about it. But I'm hearing that those shadow parts of you really need to be seen and heard. They need to be explored in order for you to access your growth, your higher sense of self. And with this family card, again, this could be encouraging you to go back to your childhood and do some work with your inner child. It could be encouraging you to look back at the family dynamics, the patterns that you have maybe taken into adulthood that aren't for your best self. It could be encouraging you to maybe address some painful memories that you've had. Again, please do this in a safe space with a clinician if you are sort of delving into any childhood memories that could potentially be a source of trauma for you. But it could be that this is encouraging you when you feel ready to delve into that. and reflect on what memories that maybe like things that have happened that you've tried to underplay but are actually contributing to you not being able to progress because of these patterns that you keep repeating. It's maybe looking at ancestral patterns and ways of being, ways of behavior that, maybe were modeled for you in your childhood that weren't the most healthy, and that haven't encouraged your growth and that have maybe held you back from growing in terms of who you are now and who you want to be. 27 and 23 could be significant ages for you. I think maybe age 27 is like around the time that you go through your Saturn return. So, again, I know I mentioned that earlier, but that could be relevant for you. Either one of those ages or both could be relevant. It could be that you went through a lot of transformation between the ages of 23 and 27 or something like that. Perhaps you have done the work, like now you are at age 27 or something, and you are coming out of this victimization energy and really changing your life for the better. That is what I have got for you, powerful. I really, really hope this reading resonated. If it did resonate in any tiny way, please like the video and comment below, and please subscribe. It would help my channel massively if you enjoy my style of content. Thank you so much, powerful. I'll see you in the next one.